bring Eggman in?
They're so smart.
I guess I can alter your vote on every day. You take mine? No, thanks, man.
Good evening, folks.
Good night.
I'll get it.
What's that? Agenda?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And it was for,
That happens and nothing will happen.
I know, I hope.
I hope too.
Yeah, how's your Christmas?
Ah,
Sad state. Yeah, yeah, it was nice to be in Temple. Before that, we were open Disney on Ice and all these things. It's been busy. Kids running together. That stuff. It's fun. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Just get rid of it. Been a long time, just so we-
No, I have my license, it's posted on the wall in the back.
This is the first,
No, you
This is
do
the
not,
first time
it
I've
is
done it.
all done, the
New
the
Year's
board
and
has
first
issued
birthday.
it, and it is all.
it's not as much parties going on in
Congratulations,
town.
good for you. Yes.
Um,
It was presented at, the
I've
party
got it,
meeting,
you
and you
work
did
it.
not choose.
Couldn't
to.
work it, so just fight. Just hoping there's snow. Hopefully that happens.
Mhm. We're getting there.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean- Yeah. They can have this one.
Yeah.
I just, I
I
got,
don't know who's it. Somebody's got it.
I think Darren's playing at the inn and 15 Mile has a band, so there's things happening. I just,
This weekend?
yeah.
We really spent our money with you.
Yeah, and I'll be open soon. I just,
I think Darren canceled at the end.
oh, did he? Bummer.
Yep, that's what Jimmy said the other night, because,
I just booked him for.
yeah, no snow or,
I just gave him a for, what was it, February 17th, I think
oh,
it is.
nice.
Yeah. So we'll be paying him.
Vacation week, right?
Beyond the lack of snow, there's some serious issues on the trails as well, with the washouts on either sides of the bridges and
No
even like
bridges.
that Mountain Cemetery Road.
Steve's given him a quote for the bridge on Salmon Stream, and I'm sure I'll be helping with that. And I told him on the 15 Mile that Saturday I'm there. Help open up stuff, you know, chainsaws and trucks and whatever. But yeah, pretty big ordeal here with all this stuff.
I don't know if anybody knows, but Jim Levitt passed away today.
I literally just heard that when I came in
Oh,
here.
wow.
It's super,
Who did Jim Levitt?
super sad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry to hear that, Dave.
Hope he's up with his wife right now.
He's with my Thomas. They're together. Oh, man. I ran the rules.
From the stroke, then? From the stroke. Yeah, life just got up to him. How old was that? 86.
So it's 6:30 right now,
Thank you.
Sandy,
What did you say, 86?
and we thought before the meeting starts, we'd like to have a moment of silence for Jim. You wanna start now, Sandy?
Yep, thank you, everybody. Article 1, I had on the agenda to review the Crabapple Whitewater liquor license. At our last meeting, we never got a chance to review it. And I had talked to Mr. Jordan in Augusta, cause he called me and was wondering, you know, why we didn't sign it. And I said, well, we never saw it. And,
Didn't Charlie pull it out and show it to you?
Nope,
no.
He did pull it out.
Okay,
no.
oh, hold on, sir, hold on, just relax.
We were all here, it was explained to us that it was a bachelor's license.
Okay, let's go talk about that. You know, I know, we know that you don't have to sign a victuals license. You send the money, right?
And
So let me just finish and then you can talk, okay?
Sure.
So any kind of a board that has the best interest of the town at heart, for a resident who's lived here for 42 fucking years, pays $13,000 in taxes, might have said to Charlie, Jesus, we don't sign victuals licenses anymore. What do you have? And he would have produced that. Now, the only reason we weren't here is because she was sick with COVID. And I really didn't want to come in and infect anybody, even though I wasn't passed.
No, I can say that nobody was trying to pull anything on you, it was.
Oh,
explained-
bullshit.
Bullshit to you. And
You too, you son of a bitch.
Okay, Peter, all right,
Fuck you too.
all right, now listen.
You know what, when you can call
You
us
know what,
liars.
you know what, Chris?
Okay,
You're a disgrace.
You are a
no,
disgrace.
let's stop,
This is
everybody
supposed to
stop.
be professional, Chris. You
No.
don't use foul language.
We're all right, we're all right.
Well, I'm sorry, he was, he
I did it
attacked
after you
me.
did.
Never
You're
mind.
supposed to be on the board, no foul language.
I know.
Why don't you just respond to him like a normal
let's take a
person
break.
would?
Take
Why
a
don't
break.
you guys just
The
do
way,
that?
the way that I see it is, whenever anyone can like call somebody a liar on the phone, like, those are big words.
I didn't call you a liar.
That's what so were you called a liar on the phone?
Pretty much was,
No.
No.
I
not a
spoke
liar,
to
you didn't use the words,
I
but
spoke to you on the
I
phone,
tried to talk to you.
and I said, you only called me, let me start from the beginning. I asked Charlie to bring my liquor license application to the board to get it signed, because that was the only I had planned to come before, but you moved the meeting because of the holiday, which was fine. I couldn't come, I had tested positive for COVID, and I don't think you wanted me here, but I wouldn't have done that anyway. I sent it with Charlie, that was a long meeting, I watched it on YouTube, et cetera, it went on for hours. Anyway, he presented that to be signed, and you never looked at it. There's no way I could have even had an you let me finish. There is no way I could have had an application for a victualer's license. That is not even how one is issued. It's just like getting a dog license. The town clerk used to bring you a form, you paid the $35, she signed it and gave you your victualer's license. It never involved the board. There is no reason why you would have said that you don't sign those anymore and you don't need to present them. That is just a moot point.
We should have questioned it. We
You
didn't.
should have,
No, we
but you didn't.
Because you knew I wasn't gonna vote for you anyway, and you can make Charlie look bad and me look
It
bad.
has
No,
nothing to do with that.
Chris,
sir.
when Jesus
Nobody
Christ.
was trying to do anything.
Anyway.
Like,
I
you
used
can
to bring him
look
to
at me-
Karen at the
excuse me,
hotel and
excuse
she
me,
signed
It's my
it.
turn to talk right now.
Okay, so
Nobody was trying to do
do we
anything.
have a license
And if it would have been explained that it was a liquor license, we all would have looked at it.
Board, after I
Because why
called
wouldn't
Mr.
we?
Sanborn,
Okay,
and he told me he would accept a liquor license with one officer's signature.
okay.
In light of all that has been going on in the Forks,
Yeah.
which he apparently has heard through the grapevine, and he said, you send that to me and I will issue the liquor license. I
Okay.
will accept it with one signature.
Who said this?
Mr. Sanborn, who is the head of the liquor board,
I
mean-
talked to
Wait, she's still speaking.
I called the liquor board because I wanted to know, maybe you didn't need to sign it anymore.
Charlie wouldn't sign it until we found out what the law was.
Do you really think that this is like not just a mistake, because, did you say it was a victualer's license?
I am pretty certain that's
I am-
what I
I'm
said, that I
positive you
used the
did.
wrong terminology.
Right.
I will,
And we
I will agree
discussed-
with
we
that.
discussed
But I will
that.
also say
But
that
he
I.
would
You
not
didn't
I
have
did have
it.
this.
One at a time,
I still have
please.
it, I did have this, and whether I, took the form out, I don't think I did and brought it to you.
No,
And
none
I
of us
would-
saw
I
the
would
form.
say that I used the term victualer's license because I don't really know the difference.
Right,
What I
no, you
certainly
don't know
can
what you
find.
don't know.
Yeah.
You're-
Well, it's
But
all-
why
the
would
point
we
is,
not
it's
think,
all
look at your
done.
liquor
It's all
license and not
done.
wanna sign
I have
the
it
liquor license?
licensed, it's signed, it's issued,
Why
and
would we
it's a
not
new
want to? Do you think that we're
Why-
after you?
Why wouldn't you deal with Charlie? I said, Charlie, will you do me a favor, we're gonna take this down to town hall tonight. I said, Sharon, I said, I want you to come in and pick it up. He said, what is it? I said, it's my liquor license. He might have said victuals. And I said, I gotta have it signed by the assessors, because I said, we're behind the 8 ball and I wanna get it turned in by December 15th. And he said, sure, and what do I do with it? I said, just give it to Sandy, she knows what to do with it. And you didn't accept it.
and nobody.
It was never
Can I-
handed to me, sir.
I don't have a whole lot more to say
No,
than
it's
all the
fine.
parties have not seen in the emails. And I will honestly say that, one, it was the end of a long exhausting meeting.
It
Two,
was.
I will admit that I likely used the wrong word victualers. I may have used it in combination with liquor license or exclusively. I think that in my opinion, what this is, a lot of times, when I was a nurse, when you had problems, it would come down to misunderstandings, errors in communication, wrong words. The problem we have in this town is everybody's on pretty high tension and there isn't really much wiggle room for anybody to say, good enough or whatever. Everybody, emotions are pretty high in this town and they have been for a long time. And I think that, part of the problem is I didn't understand the process, and I still don't understand the process because I'm not sure there's a policy or a
There isn't.
procedure that's written that explains what the process is. Either way, I think that this was ultimately a breakdown in communication.
Don't you stare at me, Chris.
I have really nothing more to say than I haven't said in my emails, I think that people have read my response that I sent to you guys, and, I will take ownership for part of it because of my using the wrong words, the end of the long meeting, probably not the right time to bring it up, because I know I was fried. And I think that the important thing perhaps right now, if people can go there, is that, the Peabody's have their liquor license, and that we can do a lot better job managing this and moving forward.
We would.
In reference to West Forks, one signature in the West Forks, that's what counts.
Right,
And they accept one signature from the liquor people.
when Mr. Jordan told me it was a quorum of the
And
board.
his name
that's
is not
usually
Mr.
required.
Jordan.
It's Mr. Jordan, right?
No, it's not.
Stephen Jordan?
Sanborn.
Sanborn, I'm sorry. Sanborn, thank you.
I will say in the future,
This was
somebody
not-
makes it clear what we gotta do to get the goddamn license signed,
Yeah.
I am happy to comply.
And we have for 40 years.
And it usually.
And I haven't had any complaints for 40 years. I know, I only had a liquor license for 25.
Well, whatever. No, usually we
We would
review
not
it
be
and
here
we all
tonight
sign
if
it.
this was not.
You signed them on the hood of your car in my parking lot before Sandy, so don't tell me about any goddamn formal arrangements here.
Usually we.
But if you wanna put one in, I'm happy to abide by it. Fair enough?
Well, yeah.
Just on that note, I think one of the things that I've become very aware of, in my short time here, is a lack of policy and procedure manuals, because, we really need them, particularly if we're moving into an environment where we might have turnover from year to year to year, that if we don't have, we can't go by collective memory. Oh, this is the way we do it. That's the way we did it last year, or we did it a different way 3 years ago, where it is just like, we do it differently every year depending on who's making the decisions. I think it's a perfect case in point why we probably need to start building a policy and procedure manual. I mean, for the, other people that might get elected, if we're not, let's suppose, we all get voted out, and there's new people, it gives them something to go by, as opposed to just a member.
It gives your
That's all.
residents something to go by. It gives the
Everybody,
residents something to
yes,
go by.
everybody, it's for everybody. I think conceptually,
Yes,
because this isn't the only, I think, area where
no.
the town and everybody could benefit by having some sort of, policy procedures that the board has approved, that can be amended, they're not like,
That's right.
the gospel. That's something that I think would be a good long-term goal for the town to work on, so.
Chris, any comments to add to that, please?
I mean, everyone's liquor license comes up at different times.
I
And
can't-
everyone's liquor license probably comes up at different times, right?
Yep.
And it's up to the company to bring it to the town and have it signed.
That's right.
That's,
Wait, I want to hear what he has to say.
it's been like that. I mean, we can try to come up with a clearer policy, but the thing is
Well,
the
just
board,
write
the
that
board,
down, just
the
write
board
that
Wait,
down.
wait.
signs it.
So
Sure,
not
really,
all three
We need to
of the
stop all
assessors
talking
have
at
to
once.
be
I
here.
asked Chris a question, and I'd like to hear
sorry.
his response.
Not all
Please.
3 assessors have to be here to approve the liquor license.
Yeah, I think someone needs to call people.
Yeah.
I think there
Right.
should be more, like 2 or more signatures on it,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, and
I'm not
also I feel
positive.
like we have to get this done in timely manners, and sometime waiting till the next meeting is 30 days, and maybe
Yeah,
the
and
person
it totally
doesn't
is
have
up to
30
the,
days,
And I
yeah.
think that's what the Peabodys were running into here, was a deadline and what it needed to be written.
Yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't,
the Peabodys aren't open.
Well, I've
right
been
now, so
here
they're-
40
they're
years
not
and I've
like-
never had any
their
hassle
liquor
like this
license
shop.
isn't gonna be
Just for the
invalid, they're
record.
not using, and
Judith,
Can I say
raise your
something?
hand first.
Oh,
Judith,
Judy,
raise
go
your
ahead.
hand first.
Okay, so this whole policy procedure thing is the process is dictated by the state. The state requires that you have a public hearing for anybody in your town that is going to have a liquor license. An open place for people to go and drink. Basic as that, so if you are gonna have a band in your ball field, if you have a bar, you have to have various types of licenses.
That's only for
Those are
drinking
posted
wine.
in the spring all at once, so the Marshall and by the river, Crabapple, Northern, Three Rivers, at the February, March assessors meeting, it's posted for the same night, that's so the public can come in and raise any questions or concerns regarding those applicants. Throughout the course of the year, those licenses don't come in all at once. There are often times when we have to come in, or in the past, and sign the licenses because they get dropped off, and so-and-so is going to Augusta and they're gonna drop them off. So a copy's taken for our records, which we have to keep, and then they, life moves on. We don't collect money, all they do is sign, and you have to have a minimum of 2 signatures, the last I knew, and so moving forward, that's what has been done in the past. And they're kept annually, they're purged as necessary, and basically, there are people now, in the case of Crabapple and Chuck and Sharon, their license comes due very late. Typically, they always bring it in September for signature, they mail it, or somebody drops it off. Or they call and say, hey, we need to get our liquor license signed, and they bring it in. So, there are people that come due in May, there are people that come due in
Okay.
June, so.
Whenever, the anniversary of their,
It depends.
is when it is, yeah. Go ahead, Gordon.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that we are all in this damn mess together, all right? The harsh words that were mentioned tonight, you guys, I'm kind of insulted myself, you know? This is not the way we should be, we're all in this together. For Christ's sake, use each other as human beings. I don't swear at you,
right,
you know?
I don't like being
I
attacked
appreciate,
either. I don't like being
I
verbally
don't swear
attacked.
at you or anybody. We are all in this together. We need to get this goddamn thing over with in this town plantation put back together.
working on it,
You know, everybody knows me.
we're working on it.
Yeah, well, I would appreciate a little bit hard work myself. Thank you.
Apologies might be necessary at some point.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
I
I
would
don't,
love
I don't
apology.
like the hard shit.
I
okay?
just said apologies might be necessary from the board at this point.
Well, I think we're
Okay, let's listen.
both parties. I don't
Chris?
appreciate
If
it.
you wanna apologize, I'll apologize.
Thank you very
it's
much.
Sure, we're
necessary.
apologizing.
Thank
Wanna
you.
shake hands on it?
Yes,
You wanna
I
shake
wanna
hands
see
on it?
this.
Would you please do
Please,
this?
would you please shake
We
hands
all
on
do
this?
together. I think you guys
Yes,
are,
he's willing
you
to
guys
also.
have been here for a
Shut
long
up,
goddamn
George.
time.
Shut up, George.
Gordon, are you swearing?
Well, yeah.
Sit down.
Fucking sick
We've
of
had
it.
a
Hey,
lot of,
oh, you can't say that word.
Chuck,
Okay.
Chuck,
Thank you, that means a
you know,
lot
if
to
you
us.
attack me, I'm gonna attack back.
I fight, do you think I won't fight?
No, I don't
It's
want,
not
I don't, I
hard
don't
for
want,
30
I
years.
don't want.
Come on, guys.
Here's the deal, I took this as a malicious act against
No,
me.
I promise you it wasn't.
I don't believe that, I don't
You don't
believe
have
that,
to believe
no,
it.
I'm telling you, that's what I took it as.
I know.
I've got
We
my
know that.
goddamn license and I'm
We
not
have to
giving up
take
my
it from the
goddamn
source,
license.
Sharon.
But in the future, if you tell me what you want to do, I will be happy to comply with
Okay,
it.
guys.
Okay.
we
You know you
apologize.
sign my license.
Time's up,
Hey,
time's up.
hey,
That was a short
Thank
apology.
you.
But,
That was
Time's
mine.
up.
all being said, I'm shaking hands with Chris, and I
Yep.
apologize for my language,
I
and I
apologize.
apologize for
Thank
what I
you.
said to him.
Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
And I'm here.
I would like to just add a quick note in
And it is too
regards.
small to have this happen.
Susan,
Thank you, sir.
Susan would like to speak.
I'd like to just add a quick note about the renewal of a liquor license. Cause I also had to call the state because I was trying to figure out what was happening and we needed, we needed a signature. So, or we didn't know if we did or not, so I did a little bit of research. And what my understanding is that if there are no formal complaints for, I think it's 5 years, there's no public hearing that's necessary. You get a liquor license. If you've had a liquor license for as long as you've had it and there are no public complaints, you do not need a public hearing.
That's right.
So that's the way it goes.
I
And
read the
that's,
statute.
and the only public hearing is when it's a
I
brand.
mean, I have no problem with what
or a
Judy said.
complaint.
Set one day where the public can come in and say we're issuing,
But that's not
During the
required
year.
by
There
the
is
state.
one- that seems like an
There's a problem because
unnecessary
people's liquor
formal
license
thing
are
if you don't
out-
need
out
it.
at different
Doing
times.
it in the truck.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a
Been done
hassle.
many a time.
If everyone was like, the liquor license is due in April, then everyone would say they could come in then, but.
Well,
Comes up different.
to me, it would seem like we would just handle it when we have our
That's
assessors
right,
meeting.
when you have a
And just
complaint.
let everybody know.
Then we're together, we
At our
review it
assessors
together.
meeting, third
And move
Tuesday
forward.
of the month, if you have a liquor license, you bring it to us, we'll put it on the agenda. And that'll be it.
Moving forward.
Makes it easy for everybody to, because I don't think we need to, be like, you set a separate day, well, Jimmy can't make it, so then we gotta set another separate day. I'm just saying, if we did it when we're conducting business anyway, it would seem to me that it would be.
Go ahead,
Well,
Jim.
then the public
Good for
knows when
everybody.
you're doing
Go ahead,
it.
Jim.
And that's why you do it in the spring, because
Right.
everybody comes to whether it's April, May, whatever, moving
Yeah.
forward. But the
Right,
reason why we do
fine.
hear it annually is because we are a small plantation, and it gives people an opportunity to come to the table if they need to. And basically, nobody can turn around and say to the board, you didn't have a hearing and we had something to say. It's another way to post it, it's another way to put it out there. It's done in an efficient manner, and it's not an extra step, it's just something that we've done in the past, because in the past, there have been issues between licensees.
Oh, yeah, true.
Okay, moving on.
So we're going to,
So you have your liquor license
I
We
now?
have
do,
it.
it is hanging on the wall, it is
Paid
signed,
for.
and it is in vogue.
yes, Judith.
Thank you, Chuck.
Chuck and
And
Shannon?
the procedure in Augusta is not difficult. They are not trying to cause anyone any issues.
No, I talked to him, he was very helpful.
Chuck and Sharon, we always keep copies of all
I'm
the
not
licenses.
giving anybody a copy of
And you're
mine.
not?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. You had every opportunity to
That
have
should be
it,
noted.
and you didn't look
Is
at
that a
it.
legal requirement?
It isn't, no.
I'm just curious if it's a
No.
legal requirement or.
No.
The reason is there's all kinds of private financial information on that liquor license.
On the application.
Corporate structure
I
and.
mean, I don't know, I'm asking the question.
No,
I don't know.
no, it is not necessary. It is not
Okay.
required.
I think we're ready to move on.
I can,
Bob, would you like to?
I can, Susan,
Okay.
Article 2, representative from Scenic Byway, Bob. Bob Haynes.
Oh,
This is
no,
Bob
sorry.
Haynes. Hi.
Trying to come up with something here to calm things down. No liquor license involved?
Oh, but we all may start.
Bring some alcohol
But
and.
maybe we should all have a shot, you know?
You needed a liquor license
I
at the
know a
town
bar down the
hall.
road.
The marshal,
I was at the,
They said be merry.
With some booze, always brings out the best in me.
I was at the county commissioner's office the other day, and there was a liquor license being applied for.
Were they as wild as we are?
Oh, no, it wasn't nearly as much fun.
So
Not
sorry
nearly
to
as much
see
fun.
that, but tell us the other side.
And it was, of course, it was Somerset County, though.
Okay.
Who in Somerset County is in a liquor license? And I was kind of hoping it was gonna be the Grand Falls Hut. Apparently, the Flagstaff Hut is in Somerset County, but not this much. So it was that. Anyway, my name's Bob Haynes. I'm the coordinator of the Old Canada Road National Scenic Byway. We've been around since the year 2000, when Mr. Baker was our president, and we've been through, I think, 3 since, maybe 4. This is a federal program, which is locally administered through 2011. We had some annual funding through grants, which comes through the Federal Highway Administration and is available nationwide via competitive grant applications. When we were started back in 2000, there were only 45 of these byways. So the pickings were a little better. The pot wasn't as big, but the pickings were better. Now there's 165 national byways, and the pot is smaller. It just started back up again in 2001, and the amount of money was $20 million for the nation. There's only one state that doesn't have byways, and that's Texas. And as you know, some of you might have been here in 2000, signed on to the corridor management plan, because it involves all the towns from Jackman to Solon. We had, good interest from everybody, because supposedly enhanced recreation, do some more good news for tourism. The state had to have a state program to begin with, and we did have one. It was just short. It went from Bingham to the Forks, and that was it. And now it goes 78 miles from town Solon to the Canadian border. Or I guess it's our border, if you look at it that way. So anyway, every 10 years, we're supposed to present our corridor management plan to each town along the byway to get their input on what they would like to see happen. Not that we can make a lot of things happen, but we can help facilitate some things. There's a pot of money there, which is available for certain projects that might help out. This trail we did on the Forks in Kennebec 2 years ago was one of those projects. The kiosk in Jackman Town Park was another one. We did a bunch of improvements in the park as well, parking wise. The Robbins Hill purchase was national money that made that happen. And that's become a real popular spot. It's really hard to judge how much economic benefit comes from that, because it's a byway, it's a drive-through. We're trying to snag some more Canadian customers. They seem to stop in the Jackman Park, let the kids out, romp around on the playground, and then go to McDonald's in Skowhegan, and next stop they're at Old Orchard. So, in all the wayfind, interpretive signs that are in the rest areas, they're also in French. And we found that that has been very welcome. If, the outhouse is in use, they're reading the signs. And these people know how to relax, but they're also a little cheap. I mean, they'll whip open the trunk, out comes the tablecloth, the bottles of wine, and they'll sit in at a picnic table and have lunch instead of go to somebody's business. So somehow we have to turn that around, whether it's a French menu somewhere or whatever. But anyway, long story short, the Federal Highway Administration has $20 million waiting for release. Don't know when it's gonna happen. It was approved in 22 or 23. We're running out of 23 really fast. They've also approved another batch for 24. So we're trying to line up things to do with that funding. most of what I've said, you guys know, and I think what I'll get for an answer is something I know, and that is finish what you freaking started. And get this trail done, and get the trail done over the hill here, so that we can connect the Kennebec River Trail with the Dead River Trail. The reason that wasn't done was our Department of Transportation wanted to manage the project back in 17, and they only wanted to work with CMP. So that's why the trail is where it is, and the only place it is. Coming up over the hill, it's rough, it's a more treacherous walk, but we've got a lot of people who like to do that kind of stuff. Just talking to Russell Walters this afternoon, he says, they'll get people come in after a raft trip and say, now what do I do? Well, we got these hikes, you pick out like Mosquito Mountain and stuff like that, and they go. So he said, well, you can do this one across the street. And they come back, that was great, we didn't get too tired out, but we got tired enough so we didn't do the whole thing. If you do, up and back, it's 6 miles. But it's pretty flat, and it's easy walking, and there's some good views. So that was the benefit. We now have work to do on that trail, maintenance-wise, and a little bit more with the little rain we had there last Monday or so. Fortunately, we didn't have any issues like Salmon Stream did. There's 2 pieces of steel left in the touch of either bank, and that's it. But we have work to do there because our project went to the Salmon Stream Bridge. So we'll need to repair the 3 culverts and get it so you get trucks in there to fix the bridge. And I'm guessing there's some sort of emergency money there through RTP or state, just. The 3 culverts wash out too.
Yeah.
Must have.
Oh, yeah.
And it was quite a deal. But anyway, I'm here for suggestions. What would you like us to see us do besides those things?
Yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted to see the connection between the Forks and the West Forks.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just stopped right there.
Yeah, the end of Flood Road, what do we do now? Back on the road. Yes, Judy?
Yeah, so on the original plan, there was, consideration where the trail that connected the Forks and West Forks was like a hub, and then it was gonna shoot off to Moxie Falls through, up around the river and through the woods. What is the status of that component of the plan? Is it still a piece of the plan, or is it tabled, or it was gonna be a walk-bike trail?
The one we looked at was gonna be just a hike, and it was gonna be right on the river. You could access it from, the Moxie Falls Trail. You get to the road, instead of going this way, you go down the road to the river, and it's flat out gorgeous. It's special, but it's also very difficult in places. We had, the Appalachian Trail fellow from up Western Kennebec, just to give us an estimate, and he said it'd be $60,000.
But why can't they roll that into maybe a progressive approach for development,
That's
like
what,
they have with
Yep.
different other sections?
that's why
of
this
the
is a
trail?
10-year plan.
Oh,
You know,
It's already been 20.
Well, on the front burner, it's
That's
finishing
okay.
what we started
Oh.
in 17. That was funded back in, 06. Yes,
The trail along the river from Moxie Falls, like say to the, down towards the picnic area, the old dump.
yeah,
I've done it myself,
Yeah.
bushwhacking, and unless you have one leg that's 18 inches shorter than the other, it's a hell of a hike. I mean, it's like this.
No,
And
it's-
then you wanna get to the bottom where it's flat,
oh, yeah.
and you can only get so far, and you gotta go up, and you wanna get up to the top where it's flat. And then it isn't, so you wanna go back down, and I can tell you, you end up walking on a 45-degree slope, and it's not easy.
Well, that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanna have some challenging stuff,
Oh,
and it only has to be so wide.
Right.
And these fellows are great at moving rocks with cables and levers and all that kind of stuff. That's why we asked them to look at it. So that's still on our list. But like I say, getting things done, which we had said we would do first, is important. One of those is a little handicap blind at Pooley Ponds. If you've been down there, you've noticed there's a table sitting there, there's no building. And that was just gonna be 4 cedar posts with a sloped roof on it, and some lookout holes through some spaced boards. So somebody could sit inside and take photos, whatever, spoke around in the pond, or wait for a move, whatever. But it's interesting, that's where the old 201 was. You come out of that piece, and it's still blacktop down to, down to Peter Ponds.
And we actually signed off on that, we had a special meeting
Yep.
regarding liability
Yep.
with the building and all of that, and that agreement should be in the records, but we did all get together and sign off on that, like 12, 13 months ago.
Yeah, it's good we get to be old. The town actually has a management agreement with the state
Right,
to manage it, and we step in to do the work.
the middle,
Right.
so we technically aren't managing it,
Right,
Scenic Byway is managing it.
you're directing. Yes.
Are there maps that, like, businesses can give out to
Yep.
people so
Yep.
they know where, cause I've
Right.
never seen a map.
In fact, we're working on a new one now.
Okay,
Most of the maps in the area, at least the ones up in the kiosk there.
so they're on the
And folks.
kiosks,
Well, those are all motorized maps.
okay.
This one is non-motorized in the summer. Well, sleds in wintertime. It's
There's one on the
non-motorized for the
website.
summer.
I'm not on
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
check-
thinking of people like who are coming to the
Oh,
area
yeah.
to visit,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
if they could go to Northern, oh, we have these walks, here's a map. It may encourage people to,
Yeah, Becky is working on that.
Yeah,
right?
she is.
Yeah.
And we have, to disseminate some of that information, we're working with the Skowhegan Chamber and the county commissioners. Skowhegan Chamber put in 2 small buildings. One of them was, next to 201 Power Sports down here, the little gray building. And then every other thing with it. They were claiming they were a regional, chamber. And they finally decided to sell it. And so we stepped up and, we'll get some funding through Office of Tourism and, some from, county commissioners. And it's now at the Solon Town Office in their parking lot, and that's gonna be an information site. And hopefully, the Wi-Fi will work out there, and we get somebody to staff it in the summertime. Yes,
When the trail, I love the trail, I use it so much, and
good.
I'm sorry it had so much damage from this flooding, but, I guess I've used it a lot too. But, originally, when it was first opened, there was a porta potty in the CMP parking lot down by Magic Falls.
Yes.
And I think it's an oversight on their part, it just didn't get replaced. But I don't know how to go about that, but I really think there
It's a
needs
good
to
spot
be
for
one,
it,
because people are using the woods or whatever else they can use.
The sign says it's still CMP property, but I believe it's Brookfield.
But, okay,
So-
but, so do you think
So I
they
think I
would
gotta call
replace it?
somebody and say, who owns this place? Somebody did pull out the fallen fence, so that looks better.
Yeah, and it was really, I mean, I thought that the porta potty was there originally for the private voters taking out on
Yes.
the Dead River.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful for the hikers
Oh,
because
yeah. Yeah.
it was a
No,
good,
we'll see if we can get that back.
okay,
Yes,
it hasn't been there for maybe 3 years or
Yeah,
4
2
years
years
or
anyway.
something. And I didn't really know, I meant to bring it up at the annual Brookfield meeting, but I forgot when
Okay.
they had the meeting.
Make a note of that. And Scenic Byway is supposed to be a non-motorized thing, right? Is it, the trail, or is it just a pass-through for anything? Scenic Byway is a place. Yeah. It's a road. So we have all kinds of travelers. So we can enhance their experience by providing places to get out and stretch your legs and all that stuff. The federal money through Scenic Byways does not include ATVs or snowshoes. Yeah. So, that might be the part you're thinking of. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm confused. So we end up applying for that funding through, RTP. Yeah. Because that money, it's actually still federal highway money. Yeah. But the Department of Conservation manages it. Yeah. And they have the 3 categories, combined, or maintenance, which I'm sure they need a lot of this year. So we can also help facilitate something like that. But it wouldn't be through the Scenic Byway program, it'd be through us as a nonprofit, because we're a 501c3. Yes, Susan?
Do you have a, anticipated date for when those maps might be done, and then how would we get our hands on one?
Larry and their final rendition. So I think the end of, Becky, she's February 1st. So, yeah, look for it soon. And,
So ask Becky where they might be.
yes,
And is I walk over through the ball field and then I walk up behind, the store. Is that part of the trail or is that just out of the kindness of everyone's heart?
I call it the backside trail.
Okay,
There's a couple reasons for that. We had to go somewhere.
I know.
And we didn't want to be on
And it's
401.
perfect,
And
it's really,
it gets you from A to B.
it does.
And it kind of makes you appreciate the rest of it a little more.
Right, but so that isn't officially part of the trail?
No, that was something that was built privately.
So that won't be on the map then?
Oh, yeah, it'll be on that.
Oh, it will?
Sure. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And all the connections had to be there.
Okay,
Leaving
okay.
people off cliffs.
Well, it's a wonderful
Which
thing
happens.
that you did, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it's perfect. And, there were a couple of benches, I mean, any age could walk along the river part, if they didn't, want to even climb up behind the store. I mean, any age could walk that, or walk the dirt road down to Salmon Stream, and it was just wonderful thing. And for most people, that's really all they were looking for.
Yeah. No, I always push the Dead River Trail just because
It's so
it's
beautiful.
quiet.
Oh, it is, it's
The
beautiful.
one here, you always hear 201.
Mhm.
I mean, the river's a little noisy, but the traffic is noisier.
Yeah,
Up there, as soon as you get to the cemetery,
it's beautiful.
the river noise takes over,
Mhm.
and that's what you get. So we're real pleased how that's worked out. We have an agreement with Hudson Trails to use the area on the other side of Salmon Stream as a day-use picnic area, which can't get there now. Yeah, I think that will get fixed fairly quickly, because that's a major bridge for any sled traffic in the town. So, I'm here and get the porta potty back, finished the trails we've done. We have, I was talking about the kiosk. I'll give you a little dirt on some. This group seems to be into that.
Alright, wait to finish up. Let's go.
We'll get to the good stuff. When I talked to the chamber, they said, yeah, we'd like to get our money back that we used to improve these kiosks with. And I said, how much is that? They said, well, $4,000. And I said, well, where did the money come from to buy the new one? I said, well, we got a check from Brookfield, and they said we could use it anywhere we wanted. And I said, well, that's interesting. And so I said, they did a nice job on the buildings, the pine panel on the inside, and electricity throughout, and decent windows. And then I went to the county commissioners, and I was looking for the other half of the money, because it's always match stuff. And they go, we paid for these once. So, they pulled out the receipt, and they bought the buildings for the chamber.
Wow.
And so, my next ploy is, I can make you guys look good. Give us the other building, and I'll write you a note in the paper thanking you for your gift. We haven't seen that yet, but I think it's coming, because they would have a snowball chance to go back to the commissioners. If it's not like that, so. So there may be, one of those interpretive stories in there. Speaking of stories, any good ones we need to tell about the forks and some of these panels and places? I heard there was some bootlegging story that happened downriver a little bit. Maybe that doesn't need to be told, I don't know. But anything you guys come up with that has some validity to it and might even be recorded in the.
Geez, where's Bob Wags when we need him?
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll be having I'll get off track again, a meeting at the end of February at the Solon Hotel, because we are looking for members for an advisory group, which would basically just get our agendas and minutes and say, yep, you're doing the right thing, or, oh, I could help with this, and get involved for one particular project, and also more board members. And so I was sitting there having a beer, and who's sitting next to me, but the fellow that put the Bob Wag show together. And I said, maybe this would be a good icebreaker to show Dead River Rough Cut before the meeting. And you know, for those people that had time, they can come a little early. And so we might do that. But that's probably the biggest event that happened in the valley, this year, was having to open that, hotel back up again.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's great.
That looks beautiful.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but, in the summertime, or in, I guess it was the fall, when we had our, annual town meeting, we did donate $500 to the old Canada Road.
Right, Jackson Street.
Good. And I can't speak for the board, but I guess I could suggest it. If you want to earmark that for something, fine, but spend it on the trail. You know, we've got some boards to fix, some railing to fix, and, bushes to mow and all that kind of stuff. And that helps. Any other specific things? Put the Kennebec River Walking Trail back on the burner. Other things we're doing around the neighborhood, which you might be interested in, is we proposed to the town of Jackman that they really should own the Addy Overlook. It's now leased from, Wirehouser for like $50 a year.
And to own what, I didn't hear.
The Addy Overlook,
Oh, really?
cause that's one of the reasons people come to the neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
And then there's another good one where the town of Jackman sign is, which looks over Brasswell Lake,
Yes.
over toward Kineo. So, we put a little map together for Wirehouser and said, you know, we'd like to buy these. What can you do for us? Haven't heard anything back. The last time I talked with Luke Mosley, who's since retired, he said it really should be part of a bigger package. So, I'm gonna see if we can work into a bigger package, perhaps something the Forest Society of Maine has, or some other conservation thing. And with Steve Stewart and the meeting down there, we had, it was interesting, I just hung around, and the next lady stood up, she was a recreation director for the town of Bingham, I didn't know that one. And she and Steve said, it would be nice to get that whole railroad bed into a trail. I'm like, what railroad bed? Well, there used to be one on there was a bridge over Austin Stream, and it went to the dam site, and that's the way they got the materials to the base of the dam. So, there's a flat path already. So we're looking at that for them, and that would be the kind of thing we'll put together in the trail for national money. And town of Solon, we're looking at doing a better portage on the river, so they can get around the dam there easier instead of going over the rocks. As well as, Robbins Hill is 140 acres, and it's on both sides of the road, but there's only 9 acres on the east side. The rest of it's all where the view is. And thinking about economic development and recreation, I mean, getting outside is important, particularly this high. You notice that new clear cut we did, we tried to start the rumor it's gonna be a trailer park. It didn't go too far, you know. We'd also suggested that Province Hill make a nice cemetery, and it didn't fund quite so well as we thought. So anyway, we're looking at doing a 5 and 10 mile competitive high school cross-country ski race through that 140 acres, which brings people to town, it's some bed nights, it's some meals. We just need snow. So that's what we're looking for in there. In that lower spot, we're just planning on doing a sled mill for kids. The issue is a turn lane. Lane said, you know, if you guys can put in a turn lane, we'll plow Robbins Hill. I'm like, okay, this might be a tough sell for DOT, because you know what their objection to putting a turn lane is? No crash data. That's the idea. That's the idea. So somehow we'll work it into a safety package, so that happens. Because the northbound traffic can get a little intimidated with a Peterbilt grill coming too close.
When is your meeting, Bob, just in case somebody wants to, in February, you said?
We haven't set a time yet. I've got to set it up and see what we can do for numbers. But we have our business meeting on the third Monday rather, at 2 o'clock in the Solon Town office. And it's on even months, so that's kind of the schedule. But in writing up our plan, I'll put in these two things, get done what we're doing. And this plan is not ink today, expires 10 years from now. We wanna keep it updated as we go and keep stuff going, but the key is to get things finished and enjoyed, so we can build some more enthusiasm. Like I say, things have gone pretty well so far. It was a big letdown not to be funded for the last 10 years. Back on track, there's some politics involved as usual. Last time around, they just wanted huge projects. And in a corridor like this, where you only have 3,000 people, you have a certain number that wanna work, can't work, those that work are extra busy. To do one more thing is just one more thing. So that's why we thought the advisory board might be quite helpful, so you can read what we're doing, and if you've got some expertise, you can stick in on it, good. And if you wanna connect with something else, that's even better. So,
Once you get those dates settled, if you wanna just text.
yeah,
me,
we'll set them out to all the towns.
And then I'll let everybody know, during
Yeah,
the
okay,
January meeting.
And the only other weird thing we're doing on Robbins Hill is we're working with Maine Grains and growing some wheat. Some of these antique varieties that are Richard Roberts. Yeah, well, you're gonna mow it anyway, so that's do something useful, you know?
People find that interesting, I think that's great.
Yeah, we also have an educational component that I don't know how to deal with, and it's vandalism. I don't know if anybody's experienced that. But somebody went through the planted ground with a pickup truck just to throw some mud around. I was anticipating someone driving in there this winter with snow. So we spent like $5 on grade stakes and put them around the curves and came back the next day and guess what? All the stakes were gone. So either gotta paint them pink or put axle grease on them, whatever.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming.
About ready to fall asleep.
Any questions? Besides, when are you gonna leave?
No.
Okay, thank you for your time,
Appreciate it,
and,
Bob.
No.
What do you spell your last name?
Haynes,
Just like us.
just like you.
Where are you from?
Cherryfield, Maine?
No. Well, I got a little caveat here. I'm not supposed to be a Haynes.
He probably isn't either.
I was supposed to be a Knudsen.
A what?
A Knudsen. But Knudsen went off to sea, and my great-grandmother married a drunk named Haynes.
Yeah, Mosey.
And
So
oh, your
that's it,
grandfather.
that's it. So maybe it's the same guy, I don't know.
Nice to meet you, ladies.
Holly go.
Me and the Herring go down.
Yeah, could be.
Get the hell from here.
That's, yeah. No, I met him, I got a sermon for a passed away friend when he was from Norwalk. Anyway.
Sorry, guys.
We need to move on.
Sorry.
You too.
Thank you
Take care.
very much.
Thank you.
He's got-
Hey, we get around, don't we?
Article 3, tax collectors report, Judith.
Okay. So, we've had some pretty quick revenue turnaround. All of our big taxpayers are in, so NECEC, Beirut, CMP, Northern, Crabapple. So those guys are all on for. We have a small amount of regular receipts, probably about 52.5 still left to collect, so that's taking into consideration the 1,300 that's gonna be reimbursed by the state for the 4 accounts that were stabilized, through that program. So, right now, the only question I have for you is where do we stand with the request for the evaluation of Michael Morrow's non-conforming lot?
I haven't heard back from Bob yet.
But you sent it to Bob?
I sent it to Bob, and I was gonna call him before the meeting. I thought I'd wait until tomorrow to get an update, because you need the updated figures for.
I just need to see what his abatement's gonna be so that I can process that in the system and then you guys can sign it.
I'll try to make contact with Bob tomorrow again.
So are you or are you not gonna call Bob tomorrow?
I am going to call Bob tomorrow.
Okay. I'll try to be in drill, you know.
Well,
Great.
I'll leave, yeah, I will leave a, try to contact him if he doesn't get back to me.
Okay.
I'll start that process.
Yeah. So anyway, Evan and I have been working together with receipting and trying to coordinate because Wendy's been coming in. So, we're down to one time a week deposits now. The volume's kind of slacked off and basically it's getting quiet, so like I brought what I had today, and it was only a couple $1,000, but you know, it's basically now it's like everything's coming on really Fridays and Saturdays, so receiving on Sundays is still a good fit. And Evan's comfortable with that, he's doing his thing as far as getting the money to the bank. Right now, I think, the only thing forthcoming, Evan, for you as far as tax activity goes, I have 30, 45 day notices on the liens that have to be served, the foreclosure piece of it.
Right.
Can order your forms for payroll for you. So that's all I have. Is there any questions?
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we accept Judith's report.
Second.
All in favor? All those in favor? Thank you, Judith. Move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, well, I'll hand these out.
Thank you. Where are we at?
Do you want a copy of this?
Uh,
There is one if you want.
I can't, are we gonna, do we need?
I'm just gonna go through the numbers, it might be easier to follow if you want it.
Oh, okay.
That- It's not necessary.
Oh,
Okay, so we're getting back on track. The checking balance today, is $377,484.55 with, the most notable, outstanding check is the county tax for $70,000 that we've already sent out. And then we've got other outstanding checks of about $12,800, which is gonna put us, today's balance with, some checks that haven't cashed yet at, $294,625, which is, I'd say, a pretty healthy spot to actually look at the rest of the county tax. And so Sandy actually called and got the payoff for that, and she'll send it in by tomorrow.
Right, if it's dated tomorrow.
If it's dated tomorrow, it's $69,495.96, and I recommend that we do that. Cause it's like $30 a day, penalty for not.
$30.18 a day.
Yeah, and, I think, right now we've paid a total of $1,500 in penalties, or fees, late fees, basically, so we don't wanna keep racking that up. The other payment that, where time is of the essence, is to Andy Webb for doing the work that he just did on the Moxie Road and other spots, and so, that one, I wanted to know, and then the rest of December payables actually aren't that bad yet, it's only $4,635, so, I would say that we're in a spot now where, paying these things is not gonna be an issue, cause even paying all of those things would leave us with $212,000 in the checking account. Judith?
so, just wanted to, and this is for the board to direct you on, but I think the road monies, the road bill for Indy Web should come out of the long range road account.
I was wondering about that.
So it's not an ARM account, cause it's not an annual, it was more emergency repair that needed to be done, so it would fit. The long range road account, which would put $7,500 back in your available checkbook balance.
Yeah,
So
so
that's up to, that's,
I would say that's up to the board,
Right.
so the money
That's
that's,
what the account's for.
yeah, I mean, I was wondering if that's what we should do, but
What's
So
the
the
other,
other-
what's the other option, where else would it come from?
just the checking.
Just your checking?
and so when you get your FEMA money back, you put the money back into the long range road
Yeah,
account.
that's.
So the same thing, when you get up next spring, when you get your, I don't know if you've got a quote yet for the cemetery room, that's expensive.
Oh, 800 is what he said. Just got it, isn't that what I told you?
Yes, you said it was like
So that
$800.
would
I
be
put
my,
it $3,000,
that
just
would be my
as a
Okay.
cushion.
cemetery account. And your funding would go back into that account when you got it back.
Take a while.
So, okay, so that's something that we should definitely, talk about, because I believe that payment needs to be.
Someone needs to make a motion and it needs to be seconded and voted on. That's the,
I make a motion
it
that
needs
we
to be in the minutes.
pay the county tax, $69,495.96, and pay Andy Webb the money that we owe him for fixing the roads, and also pay the December payables this month to catch us up with everything, and take the, $7,552 out of the long range road account.
I second that. Are we all in favor?
In favor?
All in favor. Awesome.
So the other things I'd like to point out quickly, the recent deposits, so from Judith, just yesterday, we deposited $97,706.15 of tax bills, and then we also received an electronic funds transfer of like $17,771.68, and I think that's for the ATV club. So I
Right.
think that money flows through.
It's just in and out, yeah.
Yeah, it flows
So
through.
Evan, my question is, and I might not just be following this, so excuse me if it's a dumb question, but the 17,771.68 you counted as a revenue towards available funds, right?
Yeah, so that's gonna be deducted from the
So-
212, cause that's a
So
flow through.
that's gotta come off your 212, cause that's just,
Yeah.
that's not money you can apply to municipal appropriations, it's gotta come off.
Yeah, it just hasn't come off yet.
So that's just we're just a third party managing the cash flow for the
Right.
state, so.
Right.
So from that 212, you're gonna add back in the 17,552, but you're gonna take away the 17,771.68, cause it's not available cash for you to wait. Unless you included the debit and the credit in the balance, you know what I'm saying?
Right, no,
Right,
just the debits in there, so it should be actually deducted from the
Right.
212, which still leaves us in a very healthy position.
Yeah, we're still over 200,000, which is, that's good.
And then in the
You've got
box,
another 50 grand to go, basically.
the box below, I just listed, the current balances on all of our accounts, so that you guys would have a summary of those accounts.
That's very helpful,
With,
thank you.
yeah, and then, just notable outstandings and, anyway, so we are getting back on track, as you can see, by the checking account balance, and we're able to keep up with our bills, and so I think that we're finding it.
Yeah, your bills are current, I mean, everything is current, now you're paying current month every.
Right, I mean, we're on December payables, so I mean, that's the current month.
Yay.
The only thing that's behind right now is the second installment of county tax, which was because we were still trying to get our tax revenues back in, which, as you can see by our balances, the tax revenues have been coming back in. So, we're in a good spot, and we can pay that county tax and be done with it,
Yeah.
which will
Registered
be,
mail.
which will be great, so. And then, of course, the other thing that's not on here, because I have not seen the final list, is the, donations. So, the 212 number, which we're talking about here, the balance after paying the December payables and web and the county tax, should have 17,000 taken out for the ATV club, and then also whatever the donations list is. I don't know what that number is,
I have it here.
haven't seen it.
I have
So, yeah, other than that, I think we're good.
Did you prepare a warrant for tonight?
Yeah, but it's irrelevant because we have the donations and stuff to put on it.
Right, but prior, I mean, you had a list of bills and you had a warrant that you prepared, right?
Yeah, I have a warrant preview, which is
Right.
irrelevant right now, because we have to add the donations onto it.
But that's where.
So we're not gonna be signing this preview, because it doesn't have everything on it.
Right, that is not as presented, 'cause we hadn't brought these up yet until the meeting. But you had bills you were ready for us to sign for tonight to get out.
I don't understand the question, because you guys have already signed off on the bills.
True, true,
So what do you wanna sign?
The warrants should come to the table,
right,
Uh,
with the bills.
all the warrants,
With the
'cause
bills.
have you signed? So,
Everybody's signed all the bills.
Everyone signed, well, but typically they come to a meeting in case somebody wants to review them.
If you guys wanna review the bills that you've already signed, I can go get them.
Or any of the public, I think, too.
That's true, yeah, we can do that.
Right, no,
This preview is no good because, we don't have the donation checks
Yeah,
on
it
there, and
doesn't-
also,
It's not inclusive, no, but,
and also, we're gonna do the, Andy Webb check out of a different account, so
right,
this is currently taking it out of a different account.
correct, which we can correct that when we do the final
Right.
warrant, and get the bills out, hopefully. Will you be able to do that tomorrow?
Possibly.
Cause that saves $30 if we get it out tomorrow.
Well, yeah,
I know.
so hopefully,
So I do have a list of the donations for you guys to review. Would you like a copy too? And send it down to Charlie and you. The donations total $17,800, and the money moving on 3 articles amounts to $35,000. So did I add that up? That's $52,800 for all of that.
So from your available balance, Evan, you have 3 different accounts that you're gonna move money, transfer money from general, the checking, to the long-range savings for the dam and the road.
And we have a new account for the reevaluation that we need to set up. There's a new account that needs to be set up. We raised $15,000 to put aside for, reevaluation, probably within 3 years.
that's the new, I'd like a new bank account.
That would be a new bank account, correct?
So, just to make sure that I'm reading this properly, we have the list of all the donations,
Right.
which were approved by the voters at town meeting. And then here on the other ones, these come out of, like, the 10 grand comes out of the, general checking and goes to the Moxie Dam long range. 15 goes into the evaluation account, and then 10 grand goes into the long range.
That's another account, but that's what we have.
So it's basically distributing it out of the general fund into the specific
From where the tax money came
specific
into.
funds.
Yes,
And this is just a list of the ones that haven't, the money that hasn't been dispersed yet from donations.
because
So none of the fireworks. has
the
been
fireworks
paid
was
for.
all paid, and
So that's why it's not on the
it's
list.
not on debt, right. Last year we paid it twice, so. Get you ahead for the year, but this year I caught it, so didn't have to do that, so, yeah. And that would bring us up to date with everything that was voted at,
Right, okay, very good.
so I make a motion that we pay the donations and move the money as appropriate, as, raised and appropriated at the town meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to be caught up finally, that's
Oh,
really
I know.
good.
It's been a long road. A lot of hard work. So, thank you, Evan. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Charlie. I'm proud to be here. Yeah,
Do we have to make a motion to accept his report or not?
Yes.
Make a motion to accept Evan's report as read.
I second.
all in favor? Thank you, Evan. Thank you for all your running to Bingham. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Good job. No other questions for the treasurer, town clerk report, Susan?
First thing is that I did complete the, Maine Town City Clerks Association, webinar on vital records. And I'm now registered in the DAVE, which is the database for vital records, of the state, so if we have
Sorry
an
about that.
event here, I'll be better equipped, I guess, to be able to help people out with documentation that they need. Dog licensing is ongoing. I mentioned last month that I set it up so that people can do it online. I know, did you try to do it online?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, my vet is closed for the holiday
Because it's your rabies,
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for my certificate.
Yeah, you might be able to do it from last year's numbers, if your rabies is still good.
Nope, it's not.
Okay, yeah, but Heather Sylvester, I think she's gonna try it online, so anyway, but I'm curious to see
Yeah, me too.
if it
It's,
works, you know, or,
it'd be so
or how,
convenient.
yeah, how useful it is. I did contact MMA and, their explanation was, the Forks is a plantation and it has a board of assessors, not a select board. And then they referred to the, state statute that we've all looked at. For these reasons, the plantation should not refer to itself as a town, and the assessors should not refer to themselves as a select board or as select persons. Going forward, the board should refer to its meetings as Board of Assessor meetings, not select board meetings. In warrant articles or in contracts and other documents, the board should refer to itself as plantation assessors. So that clarifies that. And then, another topic that I was asked to, go to MMA for guidance on was the remote access to our meetings, and basically what we would need to do is have a public hearing. So I thought that that was gonna be on the agenda tonight. I think that this is an important issue. We almost had to deal with it tonight because we thought that Chris wasn't gonna be able to make the meeting and he can't call in unless we have a policy in place. And before we can make a policy, we have to have a public hearing. So that needs, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not the board, but I'm just saying it needs to be done. So that was, and I do have documentation here from MMA as well as the statute that, backs up that information, so, I can pass this around. I didn't make copies for everyone just because it's kind of cumbersome. And then the final thing was, the website, which I was told that that was gonna be on the agenda, but it's not on the agenda. And I'm gonna keep bringing it up every single month, until I get an answer, yes or no. So this page right here, calls the first select person, the second select person, third select person, and select board meetings, so, and then there's several pages of, links that I gave to you guys. I sent this out about a month ago. Basically, where things need to be updated, I did, some of these are just, suggestions. But there's a lot of information that could be, updated and or made available to our townspeople, where more and more, I think people are leaning on the website for, information, whether it's meetings, dog licensing, whatever, and I think that, to have somebody who can be responsive at the drop of a hat, I think is a good idea. Again, I've volunteered to do it at no cost, and, I would like this on the agenda, and I'd like to have an answer, yes or no, if it's gonna be, allowed. So, I think that that's probably the gist of my report.
I'm gonna start with I think the middle topic. I think the first one's pretty clear. The middle topic, basically, just to really reiterate what Susan said, in order to have, remote attendance of the assessors, then, which we've allowed, we do have to have a policy and the public hearing, and that same, method or something also has to be made available to the public. It doesn't mean that the public has to be able to interact necessarily, but they need to be able to listen on. And so, you know, and that's just a statute. I mean, that's not something that, you know, we have much control over. And I would look into, do a little research on developing a policy and just see what the steps we need to do to get the policy implemented, have the public hearing, and get this vote moving, because I think, again, it's part of the whole thing that Susan's moving towards, is that, you know, we're moving into a, you know, different age than a lot of us grew up in, and the website, doing things remotely, you know, that's what we do today. And I think that the town is gonna have to, you know, adjust how we do things according to, you know, the modern way of life. And I think that it's something, so I'd be willing to, if the board is okay, to look at the wording of a policy and try to follow through with this, if you guys, I mean, to me, we don't have much choice, but.
Yeah, in this packet, MMA, has a sample policy, so I can pass this around. And we could, I mean, it might be simple, I'm not sure, I haven't really, gone through this, but somebody's already done it, and they have some suggestions on what that remote policy looks like, so,
And the next question is the technology, what do we need to have here?
I don't
know.
think we have the technology here.
Oh,
We have
just
to.
have to upgrade it.
Right, we have to.
is this something the town's gonna be able to vote on, whether we want?
that's the public hearing.
Okay,
So
that's
it
the
has to
public
be a
hearing,
public
yes.
hearing
Okay,
before,
and then people will have a
before we
say
can implement
Right.
it. So
in the
basically,
vote.
before any of the board members can be remote, even by phone, by any, goes into like what constitutes a remote session. Before that a board member can participate remotely, which we found out because Charlie and I had done a webinar together. And so anyway, we have to have a public hearing, and then you have to have a written policy to say that you will allow it. And then you also, at the same time, you have to provide, access to
Same type of access to the
To
public.
the public.
the public,
Okay.
so
I
that-
think that's fair, yeah.
yeah, so that everybody can participate. And to me, it's as simple as putting a link to a Zoom meeting on the internet and having a computer here that is just, that has a camera. So in my opinion, it's not technologically impossible at, like, for next meeting. I'm just saying that, we do have the technology to do it.
We did that through the Zoom period when we were having assessors meetings.
Well, this,
So-
all these are fairly new statutes, and they came out of the COVID
Right.
era when people
Right.
could not, you
Yeah.
know, attend, and, you
A
know,
lot of it
and
was
now
being
it's,
developed during
you know, and
COVID.
now it's, you know,
And
that's
it
kind
makes
of the way
sense
it
that
is.
in there,
Yeah.
you know,
So-
it's definitely is a new thing, but, I mean, it's a statute. The statute is printed in there, so we can't ignore it. It's, in my opinion.
I mean, I think it would be good for the public to be able to go online and watch the meeting if
Yeah,
they didn't have to come in, if they
Right.
didn't want to.
Yeah.
To me,
If you're ill too.
yeah, if you're ill and being able to, I mean, I'll do my best to make every meeting, you know, if something does come up, I'd still like to be able to participate.
yeah,
So-
Yeah, and
absolutely.
this way you can, and it's official, you know what I
Yes,
mean? It's like,
exactly.
you know, it's all,
We'd
it's all
like to
covered,
make
so.
it, you know, cause I know that you've got a lot going on and stuff happens.
Yeah, you know, things got scheduled, rescheduled, my schedule didn't work this week with Thursday, but I made it happen, and it's like, I'll do my best to make it happen, but I do think that the progression of this is important,
I do.
but,
So, would it be something that I could do, is look at the actual, come to the next meeting, or maybe even before, look at the policy, float it out there for people to look at and approve?
I think
And
starting the
then,
process.
with
is
a
the
public
better
hearing, could
idea.
we have the public hearing like at the same time as the next assessors meeting, or does it need to be?
No, I don't think there's any.
If we get a notice out there and saying, you know,
Yeah,
we can do it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's done separately.
It does, you
You
need
gotta
to
post
be-
it separately, you can do it the same day, so you cut
But it's
out,
gotta be
Right.
posted
you cut
separately.
out a half an hour
Okay.
before it. So
Exactly.
you have
So-
your public meeting at 6 o'clock on January, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just-
in that
The
document,
time
it tells
requirement
you
of
how
when
you
it needs
can
to
go
be
and
posted
do that.
is different too, because you
We
have
don't
to have
even
like a
have
week
any
posting
equipment.
prior. and then
Well,
like
it
a
would
few
go up
days
7
posting
days
for like
before the
assessors.
date, right?
Yeah.
See,
Well, okay, yeah, I just think it would be rather than have a whole nother separate day, again, kinda like the liquor license, if we can roll it into when we're here anyway and doing business,
Yeah.
let's do it
Yeah,
then.
we can go into a meeting after
So-
the hearing.
Right, and MMA provides a pretty good, thorough, guidelines on how to institute this, and then also, you know, what the steps are. So, they're a good resource, and I printed, in that package, a lot of that information, which, again, I didn't make copies for everyone, because it's a lot of paper, and I'd like that back, but, I just wanted you guys to be able to see what is available, through MMA.
It's a good plan, but we have to find out what we need to have to make it happen. You know, we don't have cameras, we don't,
We'd have to purchase
There's
it.
the camera right here.
I know.
We have to buy it, otherwise we can't allow
Yeah.
remote attendance to meetings for anyone.
I know,
So-
I know, what I'm
That
saying is
seems
we
easily
don't
solved.
have it in place right now,
Right,
so it can't be immediate. We
No,
have to
no,
move
I
forward.
just think he wants to start the
Absolutely, I
process
think
now.
that's a good idea.
And then I think
and
the
find what we need,
people,
and how much
Very
it
good.
costs, and then you have the Zoom subscription and how much that costs and the whole
and then the
business.
people have to vote whether they wanna spend the money on that, so there has to be another
I think
meeting to
That's what the
spend the
hearing,
money.
hearing
Yeah.
would be once.
The hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be included.
So I make a motion that Charlie starts the process and gathers information for us to present, then we can set a hearing.
I second it. All in favor? There you go.
The other topic that the clerk brought up, and, you know, she has brought it up a number of times,
Mhm.
we're a select board, there's three of us. I do think it would be good to look at, we have somebody that does the web thing right now, we pay him money,
And we paid him ahead for the year.
so do we have a we paid him ahead, what's the year?
I believe it's January to December.
So it runs out in
Right
2
now?
days.
We paid him already, the fee for next year.
Yet,
Hey, who?
yet
When?
there's, how many, look, this is how many wrong things are on that website.
I
I mean,
couldn't print that
seriously?
list, I couldn't print that
Okay,
list.
well,
last week.
Look, there's a lot of stuff
I will
on
look,
there.
I will look at it when I can print it, you printed it for me, thank you.
We've talked about this.
What I think is that, you know, so, do we have a contract and we paid this guy for the coming year already?
Correct.
So you should do the work.
When was he paid?
I believe it went out one or so ago. I can double check with him
What's the
tomorrow.
guy's, what's his business again?
Peter Coughlin, Peter,
So he does, a year for a set flat fee?
right,
I don't remember.
we
that
pay a
check.
web fee, and then we pay
Well, the
for
web
the,
fee,
for
yeah.
the website, you know, itself,
Yeah, but
$600.
we're paying him to actually make the changes and do all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right, which I.
Cindy,
keep it
why
down.
are you objecting to it? What is your issue?
Right now, Susan, you have a lot of things to do for the clerk's job that you need to do. There's things going on.
Can I judge my job,
No, we haven't
myself
gone
and
over
my
it, we haven't
time?
gone over a lot of it, we haven't yet.
Well, the website needs to be updated, that can't have
Right.
incorrect information on it, that's.
and we
that's-
can't pay
that's a
somebody who's
no-brainer.
not working on it.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't understand,
Well, he
I don't
doesn't
remember
know.
a check to that guy.
I'll look, check it out,
Like
but I'm
ever.
pretty sure we
I
did.
don't remember it either, but, you know, we have a process to look at that.
We've done a lot,
So once again, what is the real issue, Sandy, that you do not want, you seem resistant, and I'd like to know, what is your issue? Do you think I'm not capable, or what is the issue?
I didn't say you weren't capable, you said you've
That's,
done
I'm
things
asking you,
before.
what is the issue? I'm asking, really.
I'm just not comfortable.
Why? That's what I'm asking. Why?
So you feel better having an incorrect website?
No, I gotta spend some time on the website myself to look at the things that she's
What will
presented,
you
which
do
are
when you spend
awesome.
that time though? I mean, we should really have somebody just go in and fix it.
That's
Like,
right.
there's no,
Or have
there's
this
no more time.
person who's
Yeah.
getting paid to do it, just do
Just
it.
do it. I mean, Sandy, we don't need to
Right, well, he needs to
review.
be directed, he just doesn't go in and take information. He gets directed to do those.
You have to give up some control, you have to give up some control, Sandy. We have a clerk
This
who's
is the
very
clerk, she's
capable.
doing a job.
She's very capable. Sandy, give up some control.
That's fine.
Really, a good leader delegates. If
Well,
you
it's
don't
not
delegate,
delegated, we elected her to do the job, we
Absolutely.
did.
that's your
It's
The
job.
not-
website has never been included in the
The
clerk's.
website is outside of.
Oh,
Right,
Right.
you know, it's outside the
In
clerk's
Emden,
arena.
no, in Emden, the clerk does
This
it.
is the Fort Lee.
I know it
MMA
is.
says
Let's
what?
get compatible.
Leslie Giroux does it in Solon,
Yeah, I know,
so,
you mentioned that.
So
I'm
what's the
just
problem?
saying that it's a very.
Are you comfortable with all
I think we're
those
gonna,
things?
we're gonna continue to talk about
Gotta
this
spend some
because
time to look at it.
I'm really not hearing,
It was
we're gonna
good
probably
in the last
continue to talk
meeting.
of this, I'm not hearing convincing argument. We're
Gonna
not
leave it
moving
from having
forward.
the-
Somebody make a motion, see what
Delegate.
happens.
Yeah. Mm.
Somebody make a motion.
And see what happens.
Dictatorship, I'm telling you.
What do
First,
we do if we've already paid him?
if we've already taken it, then that's a different
Have
story.
evidence that you've already.
I make a motion that we figure out if we've paid this guy or not, and move forward accordingly from that, because I believe that the website does need to be updated.
Give me a second.
I second.
So we can go forward and see if this check's been paid. And then if this guy's been paid, we need to give him the corrections that need to be done.
I was going to say, even if you're paying him, you
Still
don't want
needs-
everything wrong. If she's willing to do it for nothing,
Not everything
even
is
if we
wrong.
have to continue to pay him, at least she would do it for nothing and keep it updated. Someone needs to give him information, and
Exactly.
he's getting wrong information.
Or
Or
not.
he isn't doing his job, one or the other, I mean, it's simple.
I think the thing is that, what I've come to realize is that people in this day and age, more and more are relying on, technology to get information, including information about the town.
When's the
Personally,
dump open?
that's mine. Personally, I would like to see, I can envision a day where the agenda for the assessors meeting is published on the website
Right,
3 or 4 days before the meeting.
right.
Not to say that it couldn't change before the meeting,
Right.
but, I mean, the world we live in and the people that are inhabiting it require real-time, accurate information to the highest degree. That's just the way it is.
Agreed.
And I think that, to not move, judiciously and I wouldn't say aggressively, but forthrightly in that direction is just not, serving our public.
We have lots
to
of
the best
residents
of
that
our
aren't
ability.
here all the time,
Oh.
and they would like to go on the website and see what's happening.
But-
If we wanna attract young people into these offices, or new people, or new residents that we have that are willing to give their time, they need to be able to stay up to date on what's happening when they're not here. I mean, there's a lot of residents that aren't here.
So I think with what Chris said, that we'll look at where we're at with payment for him, okay? And if he has been paid for the year, then, that's pretty much where a contract, that's a contract, I
But
guess.
then we should
And then-
leverage him to do work, if we
Right.
pay
Right,
him.
no, then I
And he's
can
gonna tell
go
you
over
he's not
that
showing the
and
correct information.
work with him and get it done right.
Well, I'm thinking maybe, Sandra, for the sake of accuracy and for everybody's benefit, if maybe you and someone else, if we are locked into this guy, you and Susan looked at the website, or you and Chris, not just one person, but sometimes when you put two heads together, she might see something you don't, vice versa.
I'd be happy
Just to
to.
make sure we get it updated and correct. And some of the old information, I don't know what you do with it, but we don't need meeting minutes from, there's some old stuff in there that's like from 2017. I don't know how you archive it, but anyway. So, but first step is to find out where we're at, and that shouldn't be too hard to do.
Nope.
And then we'll take it from there.
Gordon.
Am I misunderstood, but this guy's get paid and he hasn't done any work yet?
We don't
No,
know yet.
he has.
He works all the time, I
If the
have
check
paid him
hasn't
all the
been issued, he
time.
hasn't been paid, but
Yeah,
if the check's been
yeah,
issued,
no,
so we're gonna have to find out.
What?
Well, I'm
Well, the
totally
information isn't
confused. One
correct.
person
You
says he's
updating
been
with
paid, we
incorrect
haven't got no
information?
results.
We don't know, we don't know.
I don't,
That's
know.
gonna table it, right?
First things first,
We're
find
gonna
out.
figure out.
And he does
Anyway, we're gonna work
respond,
on getting the website.
he
Yeah.
does respond to Sandy's requests. I don't know how timely, but, you know,
He's pretty tough.
yeah, so he does respond. I've seen, you know, information, he and I went back and forth, cause I had the wrong date on a dog license.
Right.
Notice.
Right.
And so he actually corrected me and, you know, he is responsive.
Okay.
I'm just saying that he doesn't know about these, he doesn't live here, you know what I'm saying? So he doesn't, unless he's told what to do to make changes, he's not gonna just go in there.
Exactly.
Well, that doesn't make sense, because I would think someone who lives here ought to make the changes.
Well,
Nobody
here's-
who lives here
here's
doesn't have a clue.
To me, here's a very small example. On the, car registration website, it talks about going to Solon, or not Solon, but Moscow. Awesome, gives the hours. Why doesn't it have rapid renewal is available and a link to rapid renewal? That should be on that website, and it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
I mean, people need to know that our town subscribes to
I have
rapid
a
renewal
question.
now.
Who's updating the rapid renewal? Is Moscow doing that?
You do that by yourself,
No, somebody said has to do it, cause my truck doesn't work
Yeah,
on
a
rapid
lot of
renewal.
people aren't, I mean, and this probably isn't the time to discuss it, but a lot of people are not able to register their vehicles online now, I've heard. But that needs to be updated.
Yes, it does.
Judith used to do that,
Oh,
but I don't know who's doing the updates in
So you
rapid
just
renewal. It's usually,
Renew the town says, yes, we're subscribing to rapid renewal.
well, yeah, it's a whole thing you have to do in rapid renewal. You have to download your and then upload it and, but I don't know if anybody's doing that.
I do rapid renewal myself.
I do too.
And I
haven't
think
had
it's, people that have gotten newer vehicles, like somehow they're not getting updated, is what
Right.
I've-
I have, the first truck that I registered still gets registered online, the second truck that I registered does not get registered
Exactly,
online.
so it's, if you have a newer registration,
Yeah.
they're not being updated, and I
So
don't know
I'm
if
gonna
that.
register mine in March and I will, if I can't, then I'll definitely.
Is that an issue on the
find out.
state level and the Secretary
No,
of
that's
State?
That's at
done
Forks
at
level.
the meeting.
On the fourth level? Okay. All right.
But that would have to be Judith, because she's. the
Judith told me
master.
that the reason it's not working is because whoever was keeping the spreadsheet isn't keeping the spreadsheet, so it's not getting done. Or that part needed to get transferred over to Moscow, or,
Yeah.
I don't know,
So-
I don't understand it fully, but.
Does somebody, one of us need to follow up then on this and
I
follow?
think so.
I can follow up.
Doesn't rapid renewal go right from site?
It does, but apparently
yelling
from
at
what Denise is saying, that you have to,
Let somebody
there's some
else do it.
town.
You have to go
But I
in
already
rapid
have a
renewal,
working
the
relationship
The
with
tax,
girl
whoever
from
does the
Moscow.
registration
We all do.
has to go
We see
in
that.
rapid
I saw
renewal.
it yesterday.
So in other words, we couldn't even do rapid renewal unless we subscribe to it, but apparently there's yearly maintenance.
Monthly.
apparently. Oh, monthly?
Yes,
Oh, my.
So-
it's done 3 months at a
So,
time.
so the person to reach out to with this initially would be Janice Wood and
Yes.
find out what.
Or
Judith.
Judith.
Or Judith, like who's doing these
Judith is
Or
updates?
Judith.
the tax collector.
Before, when
She
it was
doesn't have
done
anything
in-house,
done.
Judith took care of it. But the
Right.
registrations aren't done in-house
Right,
anymore.
so,
So,
Judith registers ATVs.
right, so
Yeah.
that's a responsibility, it's just falling through the cracks,
Yes.
basically.
Right.
yeah,
So
Okay.
the same rules would apply. Once you
So-
get, if you get something new, you have to actually go in and register. Once you do it once, then you can go through rapid renewal.
yeah.
Right, yes,
So-
I've used it for years, cause in Gray,
Yes.
we always had rapid renewal.
So, Sandra, are you gonna try to follow up with Janice just to get some
I will
clarity on
follow
this?
up with Janice.
Okay.
I don't know if she's here on this Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so. Hopefully we can get it done.
And it's really simple, you download it and then you upload it, it's literally like click, 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 click.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
do it for Westport,
Mhm.
okay, got it.
What it's doing is you're downloading the new information from the state and then you're uploading it.
Okay.
up and down.
Up and down, yep, up or down.
Someone needs to make a motion to accept the clerk's report.
Yes, thank you.
Make a motion, we accept the clerk's report as reported.
Second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Thanks, Dave.
Article 6, the storm damage, what a storm. First time I've ever been really scared to be in my house. Getting home was not fun. Storm update. Have you heard anything back from Andy today, Charlie?
Only about an
Mountain
estimate
Side Cemetery?
for Mountain Cemetery and, $800. Again, I don't know if he went up past the big washout.
Right,
The thing about that washout, I was gonna mention it before, you know, we should, yeah, I hate to put any pressure on Andy right now, he knows what he's got to do. But actually, the snowmobile trail uses that too, because, we can't go up that steep hill at the bottom of the flood.
right.
So,
Roomer
you know, we
uses
go
that.
down and we go up that way,
Mhm.
and I don't think you could take a roomer across that right now, I
No.
wouldn't, you know what I mean? You'd have to spend time filling in with ice and stuff like that, so, I can mention to him, again, it's one of those things, it's like, you know, compared to what he's got going on, I don't wanna,
It's
you
gonna be
know.
on the list.
Well, I talked to Ben
But he
Toll
did look
about
at it, so we got you know, an estimate, and I think 800, I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah.
He's given us incredible pricing.
I
And
know.
it's nice to be able to have some. little
When I
things
texted
to-
Andy this morning, I did mention the snowmobile groomer.
Yeah.
And said that they use
Okay.
that, so it would probably need to be fixed.
Good,
And
good
he
thinking.
said, I will look at it today, and that's the amount. I'll double check with him to see if he looked up, cause I spent 2 hours walking around there yesterday, was it yesterday? Walked all the way up and around and stuff, took some
The
pictures.
stuff
of
up
the-
above is from the storm,
Right,
but you could get a four-wheel drive pickup through it.
right, you could, but,
You know, it's
and the
not
groomer's not gonna have any
impassable, but
trouble
that
with
gully-
snow cover.
That washout is impassable.
I filed the FEMA first, initial report, and I included $3,000 for the Mountain Side Cemetery Road, I didn't know how much it would be. And his other estimate was the $7,552 for the Lake Moxie Road. And thank you for taking the pictures, Charlie, and sending them to the town. I took the ones in the last area, so we're gonna have to at some point get all that stuff together. Maybe you can help. Right now, we just needed to file that first page, and then they're gonna,
There'll be more coming.
yeah. We'll find out if we meet, he told me, Mike Smith told me that we had met the threshold money-wise for the disaster claim. He just didn't know
You
when.
mean statewide,
Yeah,
or coming
statewide, so, he didn't know what, FEMA was gonna come up with, so. We filed our initial report, and we've got the stuff collected, thank you very, very much.
The only thing else I wanna bring up about the storm damage is, we had a planned power outage one of those days, I didn't know about it, I came in here,
Oh, wow.
and the power was out,
Okay.
which got me thinking, of course, about what would happen to town hall if the power was out for any length of time, and we have the generator, I went out and fooled around with the generator. It's got 2 flat tires, I could get it running by pouring gas in the carburetor, but there's clearly a fuel supply issue. I don't know what other issues, I think the exhaust manifold is loose and it's shaking, I didn't really look at that. I think we need to get that repaired and have that functional, because if we lose power for any period of time in this town's hall, we're either looking at thousands of dollars worth of damage, or having to find somebody with a generator and the cord that hooks up to this, and it's all set up. And most people that have that kind of equipment are gonna be using it, you know, if we need it, so
Didn't you
really-
say there was a cord was missing?
I couldn't find
too?
the cord either,
Mm.
so. I
That
really
cord-
think we need to look at
That cord, that generator has never been used for backup for this town hall, ever, never, ever.
well, I don't know what it's been used for, cause it's in very
Never
poor
say
con-
never.
it's in
Well, it
poor
wasn't,
condition.
it's
Well,
not, has not been
I
used.
mean,
The last
yeah.
person to use it was me at my house,
all I can
back
think of.
20 years ago.
all I can think of is the consequences of losing power and having this place freeze up. And it's a risk versus benefit, that's all, it's really not my decision, but, you know, I lost power for 14 days in '99.
Oh my God, I know, it's horrible.
Anyway,
They have on-demand generators that you can set up to start up if the power goes
Right.
off as long as.
So we
Yeah.
I
have,
think it's something we need to look at.
and it's,
Wouldn't it be advantageous for you guys to look into maybe getting on demand?
I would think that would be a smart
I mean,
choice.
you know, if you even have a gas one, someone's gotta come and attend it, what happens if they can't make it? The town hall freezes up.
Yeah.
On demand, I don't know what they are.
They even make more simple ones now that aren't like, like it doesn't need to be
Anything's better than what we
$10,000
got.
unit to.
Right,
Anything's
we, we need something that runs that furnace, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty
Good
much it.
effort, Charlie, trying to get that going though, my God.
So-
But wouldn't it
should
be
we throw it
advantageous
away?
to look into it?
What is it good for? If it's not offerable, why
Oh,
is
I
it?
can't live without those up here anymore.
No.
We
I mean,
can't.
well,
We cannot live without.
we'd have to bring it to
No,
we'd have to bring it to the town and
I
see
think
if
we
we
have
have
to
to spend the
bring it
money.
to the town, I'm not saying we're gonna make a decision tonight about it, but I
Put
really
it on
do
the
think
agenda, let the
it's something
people
we
vote
should
on
think,
it.
we should
Let
think
the
about.
people vote on
And
it.
there are
Okay.
grants, if you're gonna open this
Right.
for a warming shelter,
Then
there are grants that help you
Yeah,
pay
I
for
was
it, but
gonna
they
say,
are
we-
expensive, they're
We
like
have elderly people
$20,000,
in town that
let's say.
would need to be warm if they,
Minimum of 10.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a shelter for, in a bad
Well,
situation.
No, it
Probably
could be,
wouldn't.
right now it can't be because we don't have a
No, I
backup.
said it could be.
Well, you
a
can get
shelter
grants.
If you had.
If you use it as a shelter,
That's
you can
right.
get a grant.
That's right,
I
and
think
I
it would
mean,
be
it's not
advantageous
gonna
to
cost
look
a
into
lot
a
to have
permanent.
on-demand generator.
I think
Okay,
so too.
do we have a
So-
motion for somebody to research about this generator?
Definitely.
Or alternative power supply.
Alternative power, I think.
So,
would be-
Okay.
and I like what Chris was saying, cause they may have something that, you know, is just, you know, not a, you know, $12,000-15,000
Oh,
system.
Oh,
Look
no,
into
it
it.
That,
doesn't
cause
have
all
to
we gotta
cost
do is
that.
keep that damn furnace running,
Research,
that's the key
research.
thing.
Well, you
And
have a
the
well
pump.
too,
And
you
the
have a
well
well
pump.
too,
Yeah,
that
you
needs,
switch them out.
the furnace is
Okay,
also.
so the motion was made for somebody to research?
I'd make a motion that
Okay.
I'll research
Yep, and I'll do the
alternative source,
research too. and-
Yeah.
alternative sources of power. I just, you know, I think
That's wonderful.
particularly if the radiant cracks and that slab cracks and maybe but it's just, you
now
know,
it's
We
smart.
can't offer it as a place for people to come for shelter if we can't.
No.
I mean,
I
But if you
understand.
have a
Okay, so
generator.
both
It's a
of
lot
you
to look
guys gotta
into.
look into it, and you made the motion, Chris, are you seconding it?
And
Just to do some-
Thank you, guys.
all in favor?
Awesome.
That's very
That's so
good.
nice, I mean,
That's
we
a very
donate
good
all
idea.
kinds of money to anyone that asks, and this would be taking care of our own residents and
We don't
Right.
make money.
need, and I think that's a wonderful thing.
Don't send it to your
I don't
friends.
think it's that much money either.
I'll look into the grant business too. I've heard reference to that.
No, I mean, $5,000 or $6,000 would do, like, you know, even be that much.
So I think that's,
Awesome.
you never know, with this climate change, we might be having more storms like this. This
Yeah,
was
but I
terrible.
mean, even your own situations,
Was
you
terrible.
could come to it, and there's a bathroom, and, I mean,
I've had to use the shower before.
that's right, and I just think, I think it would be nice to present something at town meeting.
Who knows, we could have a busload dropped off here next week from Texas.
They're on their way.
They're on their way.
Send them up your way, Gordon.
I just bought 1,000 rounds, I'm all set.
Are we to number 7 now?
I think we're at number 7.
Yes.
That's good. That's really good.
Moving forward.
Number 7, a formal complaint from a resident. And we did receive in our email a complaint from David Rancourt. I hope everybody's had a chance, has everybody had a chance to read it? It was in the email trail.
Yeah, I've heard it.
I just thought I'd bring it to the table. And I wanna apologize, David, for making you feel that you were attacked in the store. That was not my intent,
Save it.
okay? Was not my intent.
I guess some discussion is, so there's no cause I don't know if a lot of people know. So there's no commercial parking in the dam parking lot. But if you have a truck that weighs as much as a regular pickup truck, but you have commercial plates and I don't have commercial plates, the person who doesn't have commercial plates can park there, but the person who has commercial plates can't park there, even though the truck weighs the same. So if a fisherman comes to bring their boat with their commercial truck, they can't park their truck there to fish for the day, because it has commercial plates.
Well, how many residents,
All of us.
all of you up
All
there
of
now?
us have commercial plates, so
Have
that
commercial
means we
plates.
pay taxes on property, but we can't park there to go fishing, or we can't park there to launch our boat. So I think there needs to be some, maybe some weight clarification, like, yes, if you have a big, huge piece of equipment, I agree with that.
Like
But if
this-
you just have a regular pickup, but you have a business, like us, like the majority of the people on Moxie, we can't park there.
But we can't either.
No, most people can't.
School buses can't park there.
Right, commercial plates.
So what is this, I'm trying to figure out, how does this make sense? That a license plate, even though your truck weighs the same amount as a regular pickup, what is the difference of the license plate?
I have never run into a problem with any,
Well, you told
stand-
us we couldn't park there because we had a commercial
you
plate.
you don't know what I'm gonna say. But like somebody doing a day trip, putting a boat in, parking their truck or whatever.
We're just trying to get clarification,
Right.
because that eliminates half of Moxie being able to park there, to launch their
It
boat
was
to
a
go
Brookfield
fish.
truck
for the
that
day.
was parked at the boat launch.
Right, so, but
Right.
what happens if it's a Slocum truck, he has future foundation on his truck, and but he can't park there either, so nobody who has lettering on their truck can park there. That eliminates a lot of people who pay taxes on their
We're
property.
kind of back to that policy thing. It
Right.
can't be because we said so. It has to be something. Denise is
But
right.
I'm
We
just
need
trying to make sense of this policy. Does anybody see that this makes sense?
To me, it makes sense that like, say, like, the week prior, when all the workers were parking
Yes.
there, they're like asked to not park there. And,
Cause they're conducting business, they're having a big meeting,
that might make
Yeah,
sense.
Incredibly heavy
And I think that
equipment.
and heavy equipment.
That's
people
not
that have company
engineered.
vehicles sometimes do personal things in them. And I feel like it shouldn't be that much of an issue.
Did you read the complaint?
Yes, yes, I
I just feel like
Because they have it 2 hours.
blue
right.
collar
Was there
workers
2
are
hours?
do.
getting.
I understand it, and I talked with Sandy about it.
Yeah.
And what I said to her was like, exactly what I just said. Sometimes people in a commercial vehicle that has a company vehicle, they have this vehicle to do things, and sometimes they're doing personal things, like you were going out to dinner, right? So you parked your car there, so you didn't have to go to your house, and I don't really see a big deal in it. And, but it sucks to me that like, the way that it worked out, how there's an interaction in the store, and people aren't nice to each other, and to me, it's just like, this town has so much of that negative nastiness.
Don't
But
select
this
me at
is
6
why,
o'clock.
because people are picked out, like, because you have commercial plates, you can't park there.
I mean, I think we should adjust it. I think we should make a
But
policy
that
that, I don't see anything
eliminates
wrong with you parking.
half of
Well,
the
some can't park
community.
there. so-
Brookfield will never park
Well,
there.
some can't put his.
Well, whatever, I mean,
Call
that's it.
Brookfield put out a memo, Brookfield will never park in the market.
Well, to me, it's like,
And that's fine, and let's
I'm
put
just saying, I think
Brookfield
commercial
out of
vehicles,
this.
there needs to be a way
This
to
is
say.
half of the community can't use the boat launch because
That's right.
we have commercial
But if
plates.
someone should have an issue with you, they could tell you
Even
you
though-
can't come.
What happened
Even
in
though it's a
79?
a large vehicle, it's a regular pickup, it's not a heavyweight vehicle.
Yeah.
What makes sense to me, and I think it's clear, just because a vehicle has a commercial plate and maybe, a painting on the
writing?
side, doesn't mean that it's being used commercially at that particular time.
Right.
I think we're all clear on that.
Absolutely.
So if we felt that a commercial vehicle or a vehicle that looks like a commercial vehicle is being used commercially, then I would think we would wanna inquire with that person, you know, why is your truck here, what's going on? The next thing is, as far as the process with that, cause this is, I think the way it was managed with NECEC was perfect. There was a concern expressed by a citizen, we verified that NECEC was using the parking lot inappropriately, they had heavy equipment. Sandy drafted an email, we all looked at the email, you sent it, okay? I thought that worked really well. I would think that that would be a good standard moving forward, is determine one, first, exactly, is that what's going on? Is it being used commercially? And two, an email to that person explaining, what our findings were and what the restrictions are on the use of the parking lot. Because I just, particularly, and I mentioned it before, I think everybody knows there's not a lot of give and take here in this town right now. And, we really need to make sure that we are doing things, fairly, universally, and according to, just the same for everybody. It doesn't matter who the person is or what the situation is, that we handle it the exact same way. That's what we need to do.
And I think like policing the launch this summer, going through, oh, you have writing on your truck, you have a commercial truck, like, you can't park here, like, I think
It's
that's
unenforceable.
ridiculous.
Well, and
It's a public parking lot.
It's unenforceable.
But you did do it, Sandy, today.
I know, I said,
Okay, this is private property, am I correct?
yes,
Open for public use, am I correct?
right.
So, the only person who should be policing this, of course, we would logically think would be a sheriff's department. The first thing I will tell you is
They have
they
every
do
right,
not,
yes, I
they
looked it
do
up.
not police
I looked it up.
private property, do
They
they?
have every right to police and set forth rules on who can park there and who cannot.
The sheriff, the state
No.
police and everybody?
The board of assessors,
The
each one
board
of those
here.
three
So it's
have,
not the state police that's gonna be patrolling that.
they,
No, it's-
no, they would
It's gonna
call
be the
sta-
people of the forks, good Lord
They
save
have
them.
every
Then
right.
why should it be police? If you're not parking a big piece of equipment there,
Well, they
why
have no
should
right
it
on
be
private property, that's the whole thing.
All
That's what I'm
personal,
saying, so
all-
you can't be calling the cops to be coming in here and taking care of that. And Sandy, we can't have you interrupting and embarrassing people in the store
No.
at 6 o'clock in the morning. We need a policy.
We need a policy.
Maybe a
That's
little
bottom
sign,
line.
non-commercial, I mean,
But it's
Well-
already, it's already on the sign.
I think what we
Well,
need to
maybe
look
you
at what
could
the
read-
intent of it is, and the intent is to keep big trucks from parking there long-term.
Right,
Right.
The intent is not to keep our residents from parking there to go to dinner.
that's right.
It is
Or
only to
launching your
keep
boat.
big trucks
Right.
from parking there overnight,
David,
I would think.
or even meeting for an hour and a half in the morning, everybody get
One
together, work.
seventy-nine?
That is not engineered for that equipment.
That's true, so,
Heavy
so no big
It's
trucks,
not engineered for
Okay,
that.
so that's
They
the
have
intent.
to- They need to get out.
to keep the big trucks
So we
just,
need a policy
Yes.
that is obvious. I don't care if
Okay,
it's,
do we have a motion that somebody's gonna
Choose
write
the
a
barriers.
policy?
what do you need a motion for?
For
I'll
somebody
be
to
the
write a
parking police.
policy?
I feel like, I
We
feel
need
like
a
maybe
policy.
there should be
Oh,
like a
we need a
weight
policy.
limit on,
Yes.
okay,
I
commercial,
think we should just
They put the
let them
weight
do
limit
their
on
thing.
the
Yes.
sign.
What is
Put
the weight limit?
on the sign, and
yes,
it's
like
done.
if you're,
It says non-commercial.
Just put the
Common
weight
sense
limit
goes a
on the
long
sign.
way.
I would agree with Chris. Just conducting business or doing commercial things, and hey, go that route. Outside of that.
Okay, so we don't need a motion, or do we? Is somebody gonna write a policy?
I really don't think a policy needs to be written, I just think that there needs to be, if everyone has, you're right, a commercial plate doesn't mean that you can't park there. You should be able to park there.
Park there.
Seventy-nine, that was way on.
You should, because if you're going to dinner, you
Yeah.
should be able to do it, and I don't see any issue with that. I do see an issue with commercial vehicles flooding the area, doing work.
I agree, and if that comes up though, I think the way it was handled originally with the NECEC was perfect. I mean, we all knew what was going on, we all agreed to send the email, and it was, it was official.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important for this kind of stuff to be managed in an official way, and
agreed.
not in, in an unofficial forum in an unofficial way. That's my.
But if we
No
were,
line is safe to touch ever. Go talk to him.
but
Okay.
there's gonna be a fence given too, if like, when somebody has a commercial vehicle and we send them a notification, and they're there for a personal reason, it's still, the same thing's gonna happen,
Right.
you know?
But at least that point, you would have three people deciding whether
That's
this
true.
warranted having, I mean, three common sense heads are better than one. And
And
it
also-
reflects poorly on all of you when things are done this way, so
Well,
you should have some input on
we also
how
didn't
you
have a
want to
complaint.
handle it, I think.
What
But
I,
I mean,
And
I think
also,
if going
like,
back to
Brookfield
Denise's
is a
suggestion,
big
if the
business
sign
in
had
the
a weight
community,
limit,
why would
that
you?
wouldn't
Save
limit
it.
a lot.
I know,
Save it.
I know,
Brookfield has a policy.
yeah, we have, yeah.
You're not parking.
I know you know.
I know where you live.
Right.
It does.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Move on.
but even a weight limit on the
Okay.
sign would
Any,
eliminate
any other
90%.
moving forward,
I think we-
Never straight.
Okay,
Right. Article 8, sand and salt. We had 2 loads of salt delivered, which was 67 yards, 67 yards or tons, probably tons. His salt and sand and salt are here if you wanna look at them, guys. Okay. Total sand and salt for November, October, we did 2 days in October, which is rare. Usually it doesn't start until November. October, November, and part of December, he's used so far 22.75. We had 11 on hand, and the 67, which goes to 78, minus the 22, so we're in pretty good shape with salt, which is indicative of the weather, lack of weather or whatever, but I don't see that we need to order any salt in the near future.
How do you have this?
Those that need a sheet.
Okay.
Those that need a sheet, yeah. So we're in pretty good shape there. I think the roads, when we've had to do them, he's done a really good job, and, things are going well so far.
Hope for stormy weather.
Well, I don't know, hopefully it just stays. But yeah, so any other questions? We're good? We just check these figures every month to make sure that we're in good standing with our salt supply. So,
How long does it take after you order it for it actually show up?
usually in 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3
It can be
days?
2 or 3 days. It's not long. And they usually call Andy when they know it's coming. And Andy coordinates with the garage. So, yeah, usually goes pretty smooth. Okay, let's move on to Article 9, acceptance of the minutes of the November 30th.
I would like you to, look back on number 15, please, and see if, I don't agree with the wording that's on 15. The word liquor license was never used, so if you could just go back over it and
Yep.
revise that, cause I don't wanna accept the minutes until that has been looked at.
okay, I'll say a document, does that sound, or a document?
Yeah, I just, you
Use the
know,
word that he used.
I just listen to the exact wording on the thing and try to get it down here, cause, I mean, it says here, liquor license renewal, and that was never presented, so I just wanna make sure that,
Well, it was presented, but it wasn't clear what it was I was presenting.
right,
It
and
wasn't presented to the board though, we didn't have it in our hands.
so if you could just go
You
back,
can take it.
Yes.
just
Would
go
you-
back,
Would you
That's right.
accept,
listen to the video, listen to what was said,
right,
and just revise number 15.
And then we'll check it again next month.
I don't want it stated anywhere that I didn't look at a liquor license that was presented to me, cause that would never happen.
okay. I understand, yep. I mean, should I say misunderstanding, or does that help?
I mean, it was a misunderstanding, I just would like the wording to be different
Yeah.
before I accept the minutes.
Right. Well, I've changed it now to say a document for crabapple was presented to the board for signature.
No,
What
just-
you're saying is that it wasn't presented.
It wasn't
as
even, it
Wasn't
wasn't,
even
nobody
presented.
looked at it. It was said that we have a vitreous license and we talked
You use the
about,
word vitular, that's what.
when we talked about the
Okay, but
vitreous
I'm not gonna
license.
call it
doesn't-
that, cause I don't know what it was, so.
That's what Charlie called it when we talked about it.
Yeah, we'll just go listen to what was actually said at the meeting and we'll just, you know, be,
Yeah, 'cause I remember having a moment there. where-
yeah.
What is that
What I can
license?
tell you is I did bring this out and I went like this.
Yeah.
I remember that. So,
And I
you know,
remember exactly.
nobody inquired any further,
Right.
and I did say victualist license.
We were at fault
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Present this, but.
So
Charlie, you
my
didn't know
thought
what he did.
was, is
Are
that,
we done with this, or we gonna have to move on?
Right, please, we already
Well,
went through this.
it's-
so
it's
just
number 9.
Listen to the tape.
No, no, I
and find out
understand
what
that,
was
you know, if you didn't say you didn't accept it or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just remove that, it wasn't.
Was mentioned
Something is brought
about that.
before the board.
Are you gonna hassle me anymore on my liquor license?
No,
Okay, that's all I wanna know, then
I was
Chris
trying to,
should be absolved of
yeah, and you know what, when this thing's all online, if you ever wanna look at the videos or listen to what actually happened, I'd love
We
it
have
if you
plenty of
guys
people
did.
looking, we have lots of
Yeah.
people looking,
absolutely.
you know, they know the truth, they've heard it.
I think you'll find that, the camera died at the end of last meeting.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's perfect.
So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we've got
It's
to.
better for you
That's why we've got to.
Anyway, the big camera did die, cause I couldn't find it.
I
Shelley said I presented it to
My
him,
own,
and they didn't accept it.
That's why it's
And
not.
I didn't know what he said,
I don't have to
I'll
video. it.
share a number, whatever.
Expect the-
Anyway, I'm done with it, I got a license, I'm happy, you tell me what I need to do next year and we move on, is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Fair enough to me.
Oh, good to
And
me
in the
too.
future, you should look for the things that.
That's why we're hiring right now.
Yeah.
Because of that.
We would have been here to present it ourselves if Sharon wasn't sick, Charlie was just helping me
You
out.
should have trusted me with anything, huh?
Oh.
No.
Charlie, you wouldn't sign it till you
It-
found out that, then I said, well, maybe they're not supposed to sign it,
It
maybe
was
there
an
is a new
honest
law.
mistake.
It was very
It
honest.
How
really
about
was.
this?
I'll accept it for
This
that.
is what I've corrected
I'll
it, a
accept it for
document for Crabapple was presented to the board for signatures, a misunderstanding took place
As to what the document was.
as to what the document was, okay?
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
And your name has been removed, so just. Okay, perfect, thank you. All right.
With this amendment, I make a motion that we accept the minutes from November 30th.
I second.
Thank you, Bruce.
And I second that. All in favor?
Who seconded?
Sandra.
Sandy did.
Article 10, audit update. We, had a couple of very busy days, didn't we, Evan?
You did,
We did. Joe Kelly.
but it was
came back-
good.
Yeah, Joe Kelly came back for one day, and then R.H.R. Smith was represented and came back for a full day the second day. And Charlie, thank you for helping copying, why she didn't give us information that she needed these stuff beforehand, I don't know, but she left with everything that she needed to continue to do the work. So that was good, that was good progress. I have not heard anything back, on that progress yet, as Evan hasn't yet, but, very, very eventful 2 days. A lot of stuff was gone over and well worth the time.
What we were doing in those 2 days specifically, there were audit adjustments from years past, trying to get the books cleaned up, that have been addressed, I believe, in the original audit and maybe gonna be addressed in this new audit. But they were adjustments in the previous 2 years that we had to go in and code basically in the system so that we could start getting closer to a zero balance. And then we can start reconciling checks. We're not quite there, we're getting closer there. And then she asked, Karen asked for a bunch of information and Sandy and Charlie did a great
Yeah.
job of getting all of that to her that day. So there was nothing that, she left here without needing at that time any more information. So I thought it was a victory, you know, because I'm sure you guys feel the same way, but I want that audit done and in my hands, so I can look at it
I know,
and see how we move
and the
forward,
adjustments.
you know, from there. So I believe, you know, we had a positive experience with Trio and the auditor that day, those 2 days really. It was good.
So I said the auditor left with information to complete the audit, or at least,
I believe that she took what she needed,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, everything she asked for was.
Yeah, everything she asked for.
Okay.
And while I'm on the audit subject, the letter that we sent to R.H.R. Smith last month, that we signed and sent, I have not heard a response back from yet.
What was in the letter?
It was about requesting verification of whether he found any fraud during his investigations and whether Judith had written herself any checks. Two repeated statements that have been made by the Bangor Daily News that we addressed those questions to him to see what we can get back from her, so, yeah. But I have not heard back. Any questions about the audit? And of course, after those 2 days, then there was an ambulance meeting, which I didn't attend, but it is article number 11. And it's budget time for the ambulance, and they were working on the budget that night, and right now, they have a projected subsidy for us increase of only $637. I think it is right here. Pass that down. It's to Charlie and you. It's $637.92, which is a very minor increase, because last year it was quite considerable. What they did is, having better, at the ambulance, we're having better monies coming in through a program of pickups from Jackman and things like that, and more medical reimbursements coming in.
That's just setting
So,
call volume.
yeah, the call volume was down this year a little bit, but, between the pickups and Jackman and that kind of thing, the ambulance service is very healthy right now. So, they were able to keep the subsidy for only going up for us for $637.92. We have one more meeting, I think, I don't think they voted for I don't know if they voted it in or not, cause I was not at the meeting, but I will find out, but, that's pretty good, that's pretty good. Last year, I think it went up 12,000. So, I mean, this year it's only 637.
Moscow's part of Binghamton, that's why part of the town is, you know.
Well, Moscow's separate from Binghamton. They
But I
pay
mean,
their own
as
subsidy.
like you drive through.
Oh, right,
Moscow, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that's where that stands, but that was good. I just, after 2 days, I just wasn't gonna go. So I don't know the update on the ambulance, when it's supposed to arrive, the new ambulance. Hopefully it's coming soon. That's
Thank
about
you.
all I have.
I make a motion, we accept, we don't have to accept it.
No, it's just a. Okay, next coming up is the CFWF, which is also budget time at CFWF, which is right here. Charlie's already seen this, Charlie, right? Okay, no worries. And last year we paid $5,833, and this year our projected amount is $6,927.10. One of the items on the budget I need to call your attention to is miscellaneous expenses. You see that line? It says miscellaneous expenses, $1,500.
Oh, yeah.
Right, see that? If you follow it across, it's broken up by 4 entities. And this was put in the budget for, and it's an estimated amount, it's not even an actual amount, to put an awning on the, porch area.
The roof over,
Right,
an awning is an awning, a roof over is
a roof over, let's call it a roof, let's call it whatever it is, okay.
Put a roof over.
Just to keep, if we come out from the deck, gonna keep us dry, we're gonna come out and see you guys and whatnot. There used to be a railing there before, Annie wiped it out, it never got replaced.
No, no, it didn't.
All it is a couple of 4x4 posts and some,
Right,
Couple of rafters, just
right,
couple of-
Glenn is supposed to give us an estimate.
right.
Well,
He
So
does-
that was included, in the
No big
budget.
deal.
But what I call to your attention is that we don't have any ownership in that building, we don't have any, we didn't participate in purchasing the building initially back, I don't know, was it 15, 20 years ago, I don't even know how long it was. We were told that legally we could not have any stake in any building or structures on the property. The Forks Plantation withdrew from CFWF. We are part owner of the land. And we do pay our share for the mowing and, you know, the plowing and the propane for the building or so forth, is what we do. So, and I just pointed that out to them and, didn't go very well.
No, because your attendant uses the building,
Correct,
so,
right,
And you pay for the heat,
right.
that's $375.
This doesn't seem,
All right?
seems like a
Doesn't seem
no-brainer.
fair to anybody. 20 years ago, 35 years ago, I don't give a rat's ass how long ago, let's move forward and get into the 21st century.
cause the Forks attendant uses the building.
Right,
We get something out of
Yeah,
Well, the person sitting in there certainly does.
Yeah.
They get a lot out of it.
You like the heat.
they don't wanna get wet.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, you know, I mean, it just seems like an easy one.
I would like to see a distinct estimate, to just throw a number there and put it in the budget, and not even have it backed up by an estimate. You
But
know,
it's not gonna
It's a rounding
exceed that,
error.
right, and it's not gonna exceed that amount,
you don't know that.
but they wouldn't do it if it did, because it wouldn't be in the budget.
That's how much we budgeted.
I was on the goddamn
Right.
materials myself.
The amount of money that replaces.
That was the only thing that I objected to in the budget.
Well, this is the way I look at it, we have apparently no ownership in the building, so we
Correct.
never paid for the construction of the building, we don't pay any rent to be in the building, but the Forks attendant has used it for as long as I can remember, which seems like a pretty good deal to me. I mean, we're basically using a building that we have no vested interest in. And I would think that, you know, to contribute $375, you know, for the building of a roof over the deck would be a pretty good deal, compared to how much buying 1/3 of that building is or paying rent. I mean, it would be, almost be a courtesy for us being allowed to use that building for this long without having put any money into it. And he is not putting money into a building. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and, you know, I don't know how, the county in West Forks will react to this, but my sense is that it's not gonna be favorable. And I really think at this point, instead of carrying on some sort of a grudge that was started between two people that know, or a number of people that are no longer in town government, don't have any say in everything, now is the time for a solution, as opposed to a perpetuation of a problem that was started by people who couldn't figure out a solution 20 years ago. That's, you know,
Well said.
I mean, really,
And I think the other solution was that the Forks would have to either have their own building built or pay rent.
I don't know what the county
Right, that-
and
Both
West
of which are
Forks is-
less desirable than
What,
paying
I do not
375.
know for a fact how
We
they're
don't-
going
That's
to.
not facts, but those were solutions moving forward.
Right, and I don't know for a fact how they would decide, but I don't think that it would be some, my intuition tells me that it may not be something that in the long term is going to be favorable to our attendant or the town.
mean, if our tenant is using the shack and it's getting something out of it, whether we own it or not, I really,
Seems, yeah.
I would, yeah, let's all just work on the same level here. I mean, I don't think I think asking for, you know, something on paper saying that this is what we're paying for isn't out of the question either,
No.
saying.
No, I
An
can-
estimate, throwing an estimate out there is not,
What kind of a roof is gonna be on it? I
Yeah,
mean, we should
yeah,
have
I mean,
input on
but
that too.
but really,
Without it written
but if we
down.
don't own it, we're just sort of going along with what they're doing,
Yeah.
and it's,
Which is better.
which is better. It's
We don't
easier.
have to make those decisions, we can
That's
just
right.
say, here's our portion of the money, good luck.
That's right, and if it's
Keep the attendance dry.
Oh, shit.
Well, if it comes in over $1,500, given everything that's going on, it's a pretty good chance I'll just, you know, shell out the extra few $100 out of my own pocket.
Just call the
You know,
late
it's just
fee and
not-
they'll pay it.
Do we
It's,
need to
you
make
know.
a motion to actually like move forward with this, or is this
Yeah,
something?
this is
Yeah.
our budget I'm bringing to
Yeah.
you, the board for our
I
portion.
I make a motion that we pay the $375 to help with the roof on.
I second.
How about the whole budget though?
And the whole.
This is
Oh,
the
I'm
budget,
sorry.
I'm presenting the budget to you guys to approve, I just,
I make a motion that we accept the budget as written.
I second.
Can you make a motion to accept and to pay the roof?
no,
I
except the
think the
budget.
budget, that's already in
Except
the
the budget
budget.
is paid
Okay,
for the roof.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
It's
Got
included.
it, got it, got it.
Okay.
Good.
So it's been motion and second.
So,
All in favor?
And Sandy, you voted for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just checking, making sure I got my minutes right.
Old business, I was asked to come up with a, job description for the shoveling, which I emailed everybody. I didn't know if anybody wanted to see that. I did do that and get that done. Everybody wanted to see that?
I read it and I thought it was fine.
Yeah, okay. I did do that.
I added sand and salt, but, you know, not just salt.
Right,
You can spread both.
right. I have to get him some sand, actually. Thank you for reminding me.
But I'm just saying, it's one of the.
Right.
Still Kevin, right?
It is
Still
Kevin.
Kevin?
Absolutely.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
I think at the last meeting it was discussed that he would be paid it at the end of the year, so he just keeps track of his hours as he works.
Right.
Well, my only question, and I only ask this because I deal with it in my own situation, but how does workers' comp deal with that if he is injured?
He's listed as on our.
Yeah, I know he's on your, but, you know, they audit your payroll for him, and I just wondered, like, if, say for example, he only worked 4 hours,
Yeah.
and he got hurt, they wanna know how much he was paid the 16 weeks going previous to that, when, if he's out of work, if he's missing work because of that. But I just, and I don't care if that's how we do it, but I just don't know if anyone has thought about that. How does that affect him if he isn't paid regularly, and, I mean, in essence, he hasn't been paid anything. So how would he collect lost wages if he couldn't perform his duties? So I just wish someone would
I
check on
think that's a
that.
good
I
question.
think it is too.
I think you should,
I don't know
I
if
don't-
that's fair to Kevin,
I don't know.
or, you know, and he probably doesn't even think about it.
Why
but-
doesn't he do a time card like everyone else does?
yeah,
He just prefers to be paid at the end of the season.
Yeah, I understand that, but does he realize that if he got hurt, he wouldn't
well, we
perhaps
can
get
do
anything?
deferred compensation, which is like you work and you submit your hours, and
Okay,
then it's called like deferred comp, and so you're,
okay,
you're agreeing to be paid at the end,
Right.
but you
right,
still have to
Yeah.
put in your timesheet every week or
okay,
every
so he
month.
does that.
And you're
And maybe we
Just
do it
like
that way.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so workers' comp would accept that?
At least, I don't know, but we could ask them.
Yeah,
you
I think
know?
someone just should ask, just for his own protection.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
he doesn't anticipate getting hurt out there, but what if snow falls on the roof on his
We
head
don't
or
have any
something?
snow.
I mean, anything could happen. And so that was for, I don't know who you, I guess you would ask your insurer, are you insured under Mehmet? Yeah, so they would.
No, MMA.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, MMA, but you
Yeah.
probably go with them.
Right, but it goes through Mehmet, I'm sure.
That would,
I would just raise that question to them, just to protect him.
yeah, I think it's a good question, you know, because,
So deferred compensation, that's good.
yeah, you know, if he hasn't been paid and then he gets hurt, well, and then of course, you know, it gets a little bit deeper. He doesn't get paid regularly, he only gets paid when it snows.
Yeah, that's okay.
So it's like,
That's
well,
okay. It would
lost
be like-
wages, well,
well,
if
it
it
would be
didn't
like
snow,
if
he didn't lose any wages.
Yeah, but it would be okay because it would be like a river guy that
Right.
only worked, you know, twice a month, but he
Right.
gets hurt. And then I just record the wages that he's earned and
Okay,
they would
all right.
figure out his compensation from that. So I think Evan is correct. You probably just ask them if he is covered, even if he's taking deferred
So
compensation.
who's gonna ask MMA?
And you can do as you want. You don't have to ask, but I just would, I think that he probably has not thought about that at all. Nobody expects together.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? Who's the-
Kevin Ross.
I'd be happy to follow up with that unless somebody else would like to do it.
No, follow up on it, why not?
I just think you know, for everybody's sake.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
Particularly
protecting.
Kevin, if he just
people.
blows his back out or something,
Right.
I mean, we wanna
Yeah.
make sure that he's.
Or like I said, snow
He's
falls off the
covered.
roof on his head. I mean, anything, but, we're covering him. If we have the insurance, we ought to make sure he could collect it.
Any other old business?
Yeah, I was supposed to get some quotes for a dock, I'm still waiting for Steve to, hand me it. I'm sure
Still in
he's,
progress, okay,
I'll have it next meeting, I did mean to get it for this meeting.
okay.
What was that good thing?
I'm getting quotes for docks for the Moxie.
Oh.
Meeting.
It was floating last week.
I know.
I know, it was
Blake
up to
filled up
its
in 8
normal-
hours.
Normal level.
Wouldn't that be great if it was full?
That's crazy.
That wouldn't have been good. So then no
It's
more
bad
old
that they
business,
didn't
any
float
new
away.
business? Anybody got any business?
New business?
There's something I just wanted to mention about in the new business area. Not long ago, I was walking on Pleasant Pond Camp Road near the North Beach, and a guy pulls up in a pickup truck, and I'm like, just my luck, I'm out here by myself, and I have no idea who this man is. And he pulls up and says, "Who are you?" And I said, "Who are you? I live here, you know, this is my neighborhood." He's with the Appalachian Trail, and he's one of the guides that goes up and checks everything out, and he asked if I knew anybody who would be snowmobiling up through there, because someone is trying from the North Beach to cut a trail from the North Beach through the woods near the lean-to to access the Appalachian Trail. And I don't know who's doing that, but I just wanted it to be a matter of the Forks Plantation to be aware, because it could be somebody from away. There was a great big tree that came down, and the AT people were happy that it was there and left it there,
Someone had a.
and it's been cut out. And there's still somebody trying to access the AT to snowmobile from the North Beach area.
We go up the snowmobile trail
So
or?
they want,
No,
no, they wanna,
they
they're
make
trying
their
to
own.
make, they're trying to make their own trail to
Yeah.
get to the AT, to snowmobile on the AT, which they can't.
No.
So they will be looking for that.
Yeah.
Well,
So the rangers, whoever, the game wardens, will be up there looking, and I just want you all to know.
I'm not sure
She had a
anybody's,
9mm.
I'm not sure anybody is actively cutting a new trail.
Oh, yes, they are.
There is a trail
They
there.
are, no, they're actively cutting a trail.
You think a private person
Yes.
is doing their
I have
own?
We
seen
have
the
no-
trail, he showed it to me, you got no business going through there, they cut down a log this big and shoved it aside just wide enough to get sleds through there.
How old was he?
What?
How old was he?
Oh, he hiked better than I did.
In the
Um,
80s.
Yeah,
cut a blow down or cut an actual living tree?
Blow down.
They cut a blow down and they're trying to access, they're cutting their way. There've been a few trails cut from the camp roads where the parking used to be to individual camps.
They're trying to go up the hiking trail up
Yep.
Pleasant Pond.
They wanna, yes, they're trying to cut a trail to the AT. And I just want y'all to know, because you all know snowmobilers.
Damn snowmobiles.
I know,
I don't
I
think.
don't know why they're doing that, because there is one.
because they wanna access the AT, it's a beautiful trail, you
Yeah.
know, let's just ruin it,
Somebody's.
just so you know.
I mean,
Crazy.
maybe
They
there
will
should be
be,
a sign put
he
up or
said they will be
something.
doing.
Any other new
Hear
business?
that chainsaw from the house.
Where were they last year when the dude was living in the outhouse up there?
Yeah, he knew about that too.
He knew about it.
He knew exactly who took this guy with his dog out of the lean-to outhouse
Yeah.
and took him to Gardner.
Roger and
No,
I
Roger took it to Darwin.
Roger and I did.
Yes,
Yeah, you
he
took him to
knew
Darwin.
this, he knew this
He
information.
was living in an outhouse?
He
Yeah.
was living in a new
He-
handicap
he-
accessible
handicap
outhouse up
accessible.
there.
Any
With
other
his
new
dog.
business?
In February.
With his dog.
Any other new business?
Any more comments, questions from
No,
the
keep
citizens?
your guns loaded.
I have two concerns that I'd like to address. One, coming out here, we're doing your bills, you guys already signed off on your bills before they even came up to a warrant. That's not the practice that we're trying to get away from that, right?
No.
I'm sorry?
You already signed this much bills and the warrant, you don't have a warrant. Is that
No, they
correct?
signed the actual bill so I can even cut a check. I haven't cut the checks yet.
Okay,
I have not
What
got
we
the
do,
checks.
David, when an invoice comes in,
yeah.
is we all initial it, just saying that, you know, we've seen it,
Sure.
and that we, at that
So every
point,
other meeting I come to, you always, before you pass it around, and the public gets to see it, that these bills will be paid, and we won't be able to see that warrant, because they're already done, correct?
what, that is correct, what I think
So
part of
that's
the
my
reason.
concern, is saying, business practices, we were trying to get away from that, okay? That's all I was trying to say.
No, and this is the first regular month we've had since Evan's been in as treasurer. So the normal flow of things is, yes, there's a warrant prepared for the meeting, and then we do it at the meeting. Because our meeting was canceled last week, and we had a lot of pertinent things we need to pay, we did process that warrant.
Regardless,
Yeah.
that,
But, no, there should have been.
I understand the process,
Yeah.
that's why I brought it up.
No, thank you.
Okay.
It
Thank
should have been, it'll be.
My
good.
second concern is, does the town have a mailbox?
No.
We don't have a post
We have
office
a
box?
post office box. We have
There
a
is.
post office box, but not a mailbox.
Okay, so we have a post office box. Why are we sending our tax monies to a private residence? Why is all our money, hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to Judy's house?
Okay, it's,
I find that alarming for a couple of reasons. She could have a fire, she could have a burglar, she's in possession of that stuff. If it comes into your mail carrier, where do you put your checks? They all go into the safe, correct?
correct.
Does she have a safe at her house?
She does have a safe
Is
in her
that
house.
provided by the town?
It is provided by.
So we're paying for her to have a office at her house to do this
Not
type
an
of
office,
stuff?
she has a safe there, and
That
she
we
brings
pay
them
for.
down.
And she also has whatever, regardless. I take exception to the fact that we're allowing a resident, whether she holds that position or not, to funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars to her private residence. I think it needs to be done in the confines of the town.
There's also a policy that people don't work from home, so why is money going to
She,
a home?
she brings the envelopes here and opens them, she doesn't open them at our house.
And it still
But
goes to her house.
what's the
Why?
purpose though?
So she can keep track of the money, because
Why
there
can't
was
you keep track
problems
of
with
it here?
We can bring that.
This isn't a, I
No,
don't think
it's
it is
just,
before.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe a
any
comment.
town that the money goes to a personal residence.
I think that, I take exception to that, I think the board needs to discuss this and change that. I think that all business conducted, especially monies, should come to the town, not a personal residence.
She could
I
have
think that's
her
bad
own
practice,
medical
business
office.
practice. I don't know any other business that would do
That
that.
does that, no town does
My,
that.
I've thought about this, and what I think would be a good idea moving forward is next year, or as soon as practical, but probably not this year, because everybody's got that
Right.
address,
Hey, that's,
is that We have a separate PO box dedicated to the tax collector. It
That's
doesn't go into the general mailbox to get mixed in with all the other stuff. It's separate. It goes to the, PO box, tax collector, PO box, whatever it is. I think that would make probably a lot of people feel, more
Yeah.
comfortable, and I
It's
think
pretty
it's
simple.
probably more appropriate.
It's a pretty simple solution.
Absolutely.
It is.
I've got a lot of
All I'm looking
comments
for.
from
Yes.
people saying
So
they are
have
not
I.
sending it to
No,
her.
I've
They're
heard,
sending it to the office.
yeah, definitely.
So I'd throw that out as a solution for another year. I
A
think it
dedicated,
would-
a dedicated PO box for taxes.
You know,
I think business, especially monies, should be conducted on town property, not in a personal residence. Monies is not good business to do at home. Period. That's my opinion.
And I feel like
That was my
a
comment.
lot of the situation that we're in is because people were
I agree with
working
that.
from home.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
8:55.
Thank you folks for coming and
I
weighing
look
in.
forward to having that on discussion and
Yeah.
moving forward. Seeing that. Denise, I can bring it. I know where you are, find you, I know you.
I'd rather you find me than cheat me out of it.
I have to go swap out vehicles, Roger's gonna do some work on the envoy, and I'm gonna pick up his truck, and I'll do it.
We'll be driving by.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
No, no. All right.
So wait a minute.
So I'll take her a visit.
Not right now.
No, that was never
I'm
suggested.
starving.
That was never suggested, that you run it afterwards.
Yeah, I'll be in tomorrow morning, check.
No.
Probably in the morning.
Oh, I know it's.
I'll probably come in the morning before my wife gets up.
No, we didn't.
So I get back home. I can't commit, but I'm gonna say maybe 8 o'clock.
I go to get those donated Christmas trees and run it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
That's fun. That's fun.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
There's a restaurant.
Sandy, we'll see you soon.
Getting there, buddy. Yeah.
Take care, guys.
See you, Chris.